In the summer of 2010, the world of WWE was shocked when Nexus made their debut and destroyed John Cena and the very fabric of WWE themselves. And then they lost at SummerSlam. And then John Cena joined the Nexus, forced to be joined the Nexus. And now, here at Survivor Series, in the same building that the Nexus made their debut, John Cena may find a way out of this treacherous group. But he could also be fired. Which, as happened, he'll be back on Raw again tomorrow and every week on that. And he's even on all the house shows as well. But it's our review of Survivor Series 2010 here on WrestleTalk.
Yeah, episode 7, the penultimate episode of the rise and fall of the Nexus. You can get the final episode, the conclusion, the whimper, not the bang, of TLC 2010 over on patreon.com/WrestleTalk right now. So go and join us there. But yes, it's been a lovely, shocking rise and then a disastrous, quick fall.
Yeah.
Not unlike lovemaking.
Yeah, I think we've said it on pretty much every episode that we've done since SummerSlam. It is, bit sad, isn't it, now that this group, like, they don't feel cool anymore.
Well, it's not the same group. It's like we started with Wade. Can I do them all again?
Yeah.
Wade, Justin, Gabriel, Skip Sheffield, Michael Tarver, the star, Darren Young, David Otunga, oh God, Daniel Bryan.
Oh, yep.
I'm counting him in the initial beatdown angle. There's one more.
And he's still in the group at this point as well.
Have I said Heath Slater?
You have not.
So Heath Slater.
Yes.
So we've got those 8. Immediately, Daniel Bryan gets removed because he's fired for various reasons, but mostly choking a man with a tie and spitting at him.
Well, yeah, he was fired because they told him to do whatever he wants, and then they fired him because he did what he wanted to do.
Then Skip Sheffield gets injured, which is a big problem because I think he's being groomed to be the Batista breakout star.
He was the number 2 guy.
Then...
Oh, here we go.
Oh, David Otunga... No, Darren Young gets kicked out of the group.
Sure does.
Because...
He sucks.
He sucks.
Yep.
Then Michael Tarver just vanishes.
He gets hurt as well, and he's removed from the group. He's actually technically removed by John Cena.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, so we add John Cena at this point as well. So we're sort of at 5, but only half of the original Nexus lineup.
Yeah.
Then we also add Husky Harris, the future Bray Wyatt, and Michael McGillicuddy, the future
Curtis Axel. Yeah, so we're now back to 7.
And that's where we're at.
Yes, we're at
because John Cena
7
is still in the Nexus as of Survivor Series 2010.
Yeah, and we covered in the last couple of episodes, since John Cena has been forced to join this group, the big misstep I think they have made with this is that it doesn't really feel like Cena is in this group. Someone left a comment on the Patreon episode. So at, gosh, I remember his now, whichever one we did last, so Hell in a Cell,
bragging rights. Oh no!
So Hell in a Cell is when he's forced to join the group. That's when he loses to Wade Barrett because of the Nexus weren't allowed to interfere. But Husky Harris and Michael McKelly, not part of the group. Then they help Wade win. Cena's forced to join the group. Then at
shocking moment, actually a good angle,
genuinely very good, and the crowd totally bought into it as well. And actually, crowd totally buy into this angle as well that they do on this show. They so do. When Cena gets fired, they find a lot of like very emotional fans in the crowd. I think they actually sell it really well.
Idiots.
They don't know what's to come.
They don't find me in the crowd. And all the people like me, like this. Yeah, sure. Believe this when I see it.
And then bragging rights, Cena and Otunga win the tag team championships because Cena's got to be forced to do the bidding of the Nexus, so he helps them win tag team gold, which he does basically on his own. He beats Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre by himself, then beats up his own tag team partner.
Yeah, and when he realizes that he's being given the tag team belts that he just won, he goes, "Oh no, what have I done?" And it's like, what do you think you were doing?
And then the next night on Raw, he is forced to lose those tag team belts to Heath Slater and Justin Gabriel, and they become the tag team of the Nexus. But as someone pointed out in the comment section of our bragging rights review over at patreon.com/WrestleTalk, if they were looking to embarrass Cena, why wasn't he the one forced to take the pin?
Oh, yes.
Because they pin Otunga to win the belts. But like if they If they wanted to embarrass Cena and, really browbeat him down, have him be the one that loses the tag titles.
Because you can imagine this angle being done these days in the sort of Bloodline era where big soap opera drama is really well staged in-ring segments. So you can have them all there, and Wade's cutting a promo about how we need to get the tag belts on the most loyal of us. We need to reward the young stars. That's our whole mission, is to replace the established top guys. And then, so it's like, we need to get the belts onto Gabriel and Slater. And then Otunga just lays down because he's like, oh, okay, well, I'll take the pin. And he's like, no, get up, Otunga. And he stares at John Cena. And that's dramatic. Yeah. And then Cena has to lay down. But they never, ever make Cena look weak.
No.
And that's why I don't care about the firing angle here.
Well,
I never bought into it at the time.
No.
Because of because of the poor follow-up of the you have to join the Nexus now.
Yeah, and I should add as well, one of the reasons why, to answer that person's question on Patreon, why didn't they pin John Cena? It's twofold, really. A, we don't want to pin John Cena, but B, David Otunga is now being presented as the number 2 guy. Now that we don't have Skip Sheffield, he's going to be the breakout star of the Nexus because he's engaged to a actual celebrity.
Jennifer Hudson.
So that's the idea that they're currently going with, because the build that we've had for the last couple of months or so is David Otunga doesn't quite trust Wade's vision for this group. He's like going against what Wade wants to do, even though Wade has got these master plans. So that's why then it's less about embarrassing Cena and it's more about embarrassing David Otunga, because Otunga is going to be the one guy who actually sticks, well, I suppose actually with Harris and McGillicuddy, sticks with this version of Nexus when Wade, Gabriel, and Slater leave the Nexus when CM Punk takes over to go form the core over on SmackDown.
No, the core's Wade's version.
That's what I said.
Oh,
so,
right.
Yeah, so Wade, Slater, and they go...
And Punk is the new
Nexus, yeah.
So they got the branding rights. I know which name I'd prefer.
Is that one of the other WWE shows from this year, branding rights?
Well, this is the other weird thing. So I was just seeing if I could give you a quiz on Jennifer Hudson singles. But I can only... Was she more of a
TV and a film actress, right? She's in that one film, right? That she does that song in that people really like. You know that one,
Dreamgirls?
Yeah, that's the one with Eddie Murphy.
I just assumed she was more of a singer.
And she did that song in that film that then everyone did covers of on the X Factor every year. If you were like,
Hallelujah.
It's like, if I'm a good singer, then that's the song that I do.
Is it Spotlight? That's the only one that went to number 1 for her in the US.
Probably tracks
and not technically a full number 1. It was US R&B / HH. What is... Oh, hip hop.
Much love.
A very different sort of demographic for those HHs. Those two HHs are very different audiences. Yes, the other thing that I've come to appreciate about the rise and fall of the Nexus is how many goddamn elimination 7-person tags there are.
Oh yeah, because we had one at Bragging Rights.
You had one at SummerSlam.
Yeah, it's true.
SummerSlam was the big pinnacle. Well, that should have been the start of... That should have been the end of phase 1. And the bad guys win. Should have been. They don't. John Cena overcomes them. And then you get the Bragging Rights 7-person one, but that's not even with the Nexus.
No, but they sort of teased that it was going to involve the Nexus because the Nexus N replaces the N of bragging.
But it's really that Wade versus Randy is the main event.
Yeah, so Wade loses there.
With Cena as the special guest referee. No, that's this show.
Yeah, Cena's on the outside, and he's supposed to help Wade win. Yeah. And he doesn't. He gets Randy DQ'd, so Wade does win, but he doesn't win the title.
Actually, a smart bit of booking.
Very nice.
Really like that.
And Gabriel and David Otunga and John, and crucially, John Cena wins.
Yes,
because John Cena wins the tag team championship.
Yeah. And then in this show, we've got another classic elimination match because it's Survivor Series. So of this arc, there are 3 massive elimination tags.
Yeah.
Only one of them involves the Nexus. You think that would be a focal point of a big multi-man faction?
You'd think.
Today, again, to compare it, 15 years later to the Levesque era, this would be climaxing in a War Games match.
Yeah, because he doesn't do the 5-on-5 traditional Survivor Series tag match.
Which you have to pin too many people.
Yeah.
I don't think Triple H does not like pinning his top guys.
Okay, well, you get into the position that we've had in all of the elimination matches that we've had across the 3 that we've had in this series, where we actually don't. Team Del Rio has to lose, but we don't want Del Rio to get pinned at this point. So you have to gimmick a way to get him out of the match. Now, we can't really have Bret Hart get pinned, so we have to gimmick a way to get him out of this match. We don't really want to pin Sheamus, so we have to gimmick a way to get him out of this match. So yeah, it just becomes a case of some guys that you don't really care about get pinned, and then some win, and other guys just find a way to get out of the match.
With the Big Show.
Usually with the Big Show.
Involving the Big Show. But it's also another thing that happens in the full part of the Nexus. The rise is definitely, it's not just Wade. This is 8 people or 7 people after the first angle. And you're like, oh, I like Skip Sheffield. I love Daniel Bryan. Like, he's got something. Oh, Justin Gabriel, he's 450. Oh my God. Is Michael Tarver going to be the big future star? But it very quickly, post SummerSlam, post that defeat of the whole faction, becomes the Wade Barrett storyline.
Yes.
And really, it's Wade Barrett and his 5 lackeys.
Yeah, his putty patrol.
Mm-hmm.
That's all he has now. I think the thing that I've taken away from doing this series and watching all of these shows back to back and doing it with you and reading everything is in my head, Gabriel was the number 2 guy. Like, if you were to go, it was like, who was the second biggest star? It was Justin Gabriel. It was always the Wasteland into the 450. He was always going to be the breakout guy. It's only now that I'm watching back on it. It's like, he's never a focus on anything outside of those first few weeks when he was hitting the 450.
Well, that's because when people think of the Nexus, they think of that angle that introduces them in June to the main event of SummerSlam, a 2-month period, which was awesome. And that, slightly disproven that, but mostly awesome. And it's the SummerSlam defeat that really ends the Nexus. Mm-hmm. But that was in episode 3 for us. Most of our series has come after that bit.
It's been in the 4.
So all the Justin Gabriel bits, the big standout bits, hitting the 450 on Ricky Steamboat, hitting the 450 on Vince McMahon, Bret Hart as well. He took it like. Those are the big moments when you think of Nexus and that original angle, but that doesn't carry on post SummerSlam. That focus on Gabriel,
because it moves to Skip until he gets hurt. Then it moves to David Otunga until they split the group up.
Well, I feel like Skip was also a part of the Gabriel and Wasteland moveset. It was like Skip would spear them first, then it would be the 450.
I think the reason why I don't think I never feel like it was Skip. A, he gets injured fairly early doors in the story, but B, he's eliminated fairly unceremoniously in the SummerSlam match.
Like, it's because they want to get him out early, kind of like Gunther in that first Survivor Series match he was in.
Where he was pinned in 90 seconds.
Yeah, have a great showing, but then he's gotten rid of early, so people don't remember that. They'll remember the final 2-3 eliminations.
And the final 2 being Wade and Gabriel.
Yeah, because I think if it's Wade and Skip Sheffield, I don't think WWE are booking Cena to beat those 2.
Yeah.
Because they see more in Skip Sheffield. He's a big guy.
You have to hit 5 finishes on him to put him away. Yeah, maybe you're right. So here we are. It is Survivor Series. We are in November. We've had, between June and November, this is it's our 6th pay-per-view, but we actually skipped one. So there's actually been 7. There's been 7 shows, I think, between their debut and here.
Yeah, and a lot in the last 2 months.
Yeah.
So there's been Night of Champions, Hell in a Cell, Bragging Rights.
Yeah. So there's one we skipped over, which is
Money in the Bank.
No, we did Money in the Bank. We skipped over the one that came before Money in the Bank, which is like Nexus just interferes in the main event. Then we did Money in the Bank. Then it's SummerSlam. Then it's Night of Champions. Then it's Hell in a Cell. Then Bragging Rights. And now we're at Survivor Series and then TLC.
Yeah. And that's all in the space of 3 months. And this is technically brand split era, but it's not individual branded pay-per-views. So I have no idea why they're doing a pay-per-view on average every 2.5-3 weeks.
And asking people to pay $40 each time it happens as
Pre-network, yeah.
Yeah. So, what's going on in the world of the news? Well, I can tell you that WWE held a round of cuts on the 19th of November, releasing several wrestlers that hadn't been being used as of late, and a few members of the writing team, the best known being Christopher DeJoseph, who spent many years with the company and of late had been Michael Hayes' chief assistant on the SmackDown writing team. DeJoseph, who at times over the past 4+ years portrayed the recurring character Big Dick Johnson, a short fat guy who would dance around in a thong, was the biggest surprise. The story was that Vince and Stephanie McMahon had decided to get rid of him, but Hayes went to bat to keep him. DeJoseph was doing a lot of the grunt work for Hayes in the sense that Hayes would envision the segments on the show, but it was DeJoseph that would turn Hayes' ideas into scripts. It was a crazy job because it was unusual on show days that Vince would want to change the entire show, and then DeJoseph would have to write a new script on the fly. Unlike the others, he knew it was coming as he told friends and some business contacts that he was done in a week before he was let go, and he must have been aware of whatever it is being caused for the to fall out of the favour. The decision to overhaul the writing staff was probably made about a month ago as the company was searching for Hollywood writers and held an interview process in October in Los Angeles.
Is this but the sort of writer's room has been around for years at this point. That's something Stephanie McMahon introduced. And I think we all took against that at the time because we just saw the product WWE was spewing out.
We were like, no, Chris Kresge in 2000. That's all you need. Just a guy like him.
You just need Russo, McMahon, and Cornette in a room. And they'll work out the next year of wrestling, right? But then, and that's when wrestling was very creatively fun. Mm-hmm. But then it became very PG and monotone and cookie cutter, and that coincided with Stephanie bringing in Hollywood writers and the sort of writers' room version of wrestling, treating it more like a traditional TV show. Yeah. But I now that we're in 2025, I don't think the writers' room is to blame for that. I think it's WWE.
Yeah.
I think it's Stephanie McMahon and Vince McMahon and their vision imposed on those writers' rooms.
Well, what doesn't help is like when you if you're copying the writers' room model of a Hollywood TV show production, you have a showrunner who is like overseeing all of the episodes, and they all in the writers' room be like, we're going to do this, and then this person, you're going to go write episodes 1 and 2, you're going to go write episodes 3 and 4, you're going to write episodes 4 and 6, this, that, and the other, right? But the showrunner is overseeing everything. What a showrunner doesn't do is on the day you get to set to film it, being like, I don't like it, write it again from scratch.
Yeah. Bryan Cranston, we're going to make you do a comedy arm wrestle thing in this week's episode of Breaking Bad. Not the stuff we've been building for 4 seasons.
Forget the stuff we did in the last episode. I've got a brand new idea of what I want to do now. Yeah, and granted, that did happen with the last season of Game of Thrones, but it wasn't like they did that in the writer's room and then went mad.
Yeah. Oh, Lost, it's, they apparently had it all figured out from the start.
Yep. As that Lost documentary will have you believe.
They found it.
Hey.
But yeah, I used to believe this back at this time. You can only have wrestling bookers and wrestlers write wrestling. Mm-hmm. You don't need to bring in these Hollywood writers. They don't understand it. But now, I think that was a stupid mindset to have. Shared by a lot of people at the time, certainly a lot of like old school wrestlers. The person, if you write Desperate Housewives, you don't know how a wrestling show works. It's a completely different thing. And they are very, very different. But I think there are certain stories, like there's a shared skill set, definitely, that you can translate over. And some people have done it very effectively. Again, the problem is Vince. Mm-hmm.
So Dave continues here. People who've come from that background and then worked in WWE have noted that a big issue is WWE television is completely different than anything else in Hollywood, and not just the understanding of business in the sense that television has led to creating rivalries that play out on pay-per-view. The big difference is the number of last-minute changes, and more so, the way complete changes are done every week in direction without any kind of explanation as to why. It leads to frustration and burnout. One writer, a newcomer whose name wasn't recognizable even to those internally, quit the promotion 3 weeks ago. Others were let go with DeJoseph, but one source noted, quote, no one mentioned anyone outside Chris last week, including him. So that leads me to believe they're all young guys that have been around for just a few weeks with little attachment to the team. The source noted that DeJoseph's dismissal is interpreted as a warning shot by some to Hayes, since the two were close, but also noted that it's puzzling because Hayes is the last of the wrestling minds in the creative process except for Vince himself and to a degree Triple H. But it's noted that Triple H only seems to really invest strongly in his own programs or programs of guys he considers his projects, as opposed to coming up with ideas for people across the board.
Yep, I think that holds true maybe 15 years later. Interesting, though, of course, Michael Hayes is still there. He's outlasted Vince.
He has. Currently, there are so many new writers and many long-term writers in the company don't even know their names. DeJoseph was considered one of the long-time Big Five writers, along with Ed Koskey and NXT, who writes NXT and Superstars. Hayes and the Big Two on Raw, Brian Gewitz and David Kapoor, who was Rajan Singh with the Great Khali. Ed Koskey, of course, is still there to this day. He's featured quite a lot in WWE Unreal, as is Brian Gewitz. Well, I say he's featured a lot. He's in the episode with The Rock.
Yeah, because he became later, like 5 years later, he joined The Rock in $7 Productions. Yeah. Have you heard that story? Why it's called $7 Productions?
I don't think I have. Yeah. Well,
Little known trivia fact: Rock only had $7 in his pocket one day.
Even though the company turned a healthy profit last quarter, McMahon was reacting to what he considers the core barometers being down, which are house show numbers and pay-per-view numbers. The other television characters released were Drew Hankinson, Luke Gallows, Shad Gaspard.
What? Drew was released this month of Survivor Series.
No, Luke Gallows, as in Drew Hankinson is his real name. Not Drew Galloway was not released.
I heard the words Drew and Gallows, and I just got Drew Galloway out of that.
No, Drew Hankinson, a.k.a. Luke Gallows, Shad Gaspard, Aaron Davis, referee Goose Mahoney, Gillian Fletcher, a.k.a. Gillian Hall, Taryn Terrell, a.k.a. Tiffany, Lance Hoyt, and Chris Pavone, a.k.a. Kalen Croft. Most, if not all, were told they were part of budget cuts across the company.
Well, Taryn Terrell... Was she married to Drew Galloway at this point?
Oh, yes. And she did an interview shortly after being released. None were used in significant portion at this point. Terrell, 25, had been suspended since shortly after the incident where she was arrested on a domestic dispute at a Los Angeles hotel on a domestic assault charge, which we covered, I think, in the last episode or maybe 2 episodes ago. This stemmed from an alleged violent argument with husband Drew Galloway, a.k.a. Drew McIntyre, got loud and hotel security was called and eventually the police came. Although the charges were dropped, she wasn't brought back. Part of the heat was because not only did she get arrested, but neither she nor her husband told the company about it more than a day, and also in the hours before the arrest, they went to the Playboy Mansion and had photos taken. The company was unaware they were attending the party and would not have approved it if brought up because of the PG directive.
Yeah, sometimes WWE fires people. Most of the time, you're like, oh, that's just cruel, and you're just doing it for petty reasons or financial bean counter reasons. This is one where I can, I'm like, an arrest.
You got arrested and you didn't tell them.
You turned up at the Playboy Mansion.
In the PG era.
I can see cause for this one.
But, not Drew, though. She claimed the entire incident was because somebody had an axe to grind.
Well, Drew wasn't arrested.
No, but he also didn't tell the company. She claimed the entire incident was because somebody had an axe to grind with her husband. Quote, if that had a part of me losing my job with WWE, it's really sad that someone did that to us, she said. I just want some people to know that my husband and I are great and we have a wonderful relationship and nothing bad has ever happened between the two of us.
Well... The arrest.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, she got arrested. Yeah. But nothing bad happened between them.
But isn't it interesting? Of course, we've got one report and then we've got one interview from Terrell there.
She did that with Diva Dirt.
But there's 2 releases there that could be interpreted as warnings to other people.
Yeah.
Michael Hayes with Krista Joseph and Taryn Terrell with Drew McIntyre here. And it's like, that does feel like you're using people's careers to discipline other, but that is just HR. That's the word. That's terrible.
Well, yeah, but you don't tell HR that's why you're doing it. You tell them it's budget
cuts. Yeah.
No. Shad Gaspard, 29, was sent down to FCW after WrestleMania this year. Originally, he was going to get a singles push after Mania after a short feud with tag partner JTG. However, plans changed after JTG beat him in a blow-off match, and then he was sent to FCW. Gaspard had pitched the idea to creative early this year to break up the team and go solo, which may have backfired on him. He lost out to Bob Sapp for the lead role in the remake of the next Conan movie, which ended up being one of the things the company wasn't happy with because it's outside wrestling stuff. He was sent to FCW, and there were those there who felt that he had a big shot attitude based on having been on the main roster. He left FCW in October and moved to Houston with his wife and son. He had gotten some heat with the Office when doing an interview and saying he didn't think pro wrestling was PG.
Well, obviously Shad Gaspard tragically passed in a swimming accident several years ago. Was it even in the pandemic?
I think it might have been during the pandemic.
Yeah. Really, like one of those stories where you're like, oh man, that's a really untimely death.
Just got caught in a riptide.
Yeah. But at this time, Crime Time, I had no love for, really. Didn't really like their act. But I liked both wrestlers. But I remember when Shad got released, it was like, okay, so JTG's getting released. And he was with the company for like 7-8 years after this. When was he released?
There was a website that was even called like has JTG been released.com or something along those lines, and it just said no until the day he got released, and it said yes.
Let's have a look here.
Because I want to say it's like 2017, maybe even later than that.
Okay. 2014.
Okay.
2014. In June 2014. June 12th, 2014.
Because the other one that was one of those guys that just kept hanging on for ages was Scotty Too Hotty, I remember. It was like, wow, Scotty's still here?
But at least he was doing training.
Yeah, and Funaki was the other one. Like, every round of release, I was like, it's probably going to be Funaki this time. It never was. Drew Hankinson, not Galloway / McIntyre, was not a surprise, but he was well liked. As Luke Gallows, he hadn't been used much since the split of the Straight Edge Society and was going babyface in September. The Society was a hot act on SmackDown, but after Serena Deeb was fired in a disciplinary move due to an incident at a hotel in Los Angeles over SummerSlam weekend, and Joey Mercury suffered a torn pec, the decision was made to drop the group. A program with Gallows as a face against CM Punk seemed obvious after the breakup, but it only lasted one match on SmackDown, which he lost, and it was over, even though Punk didn't have any other programs. He's been told that he's going to play a roughneck babyface, but was never given the reason as to why they stopped using him. After that match, he rarely appeared, limited to a few appearances on SmackDown. He was scheduled for a big run as the Imposter Kane in 2006, but Vince McMahon hated the gimmick, and their first pay-per-view match, which he won, was so bad that he nixed the entire feud after just a few days. He had pitched several ideas to creative, that being Drew Hankinson, and had been told that he would people would get back to him shortly. The probability is that if Mercury hadn't been injured or Serena Deeb hadn't been fired, they wouldn't have ended the group and he'd likely still have a position. He also said that he's open to going to TNA. Punk wrote that he's sad about his former partner's firing, saying, quote, "Days like today bum me out. Gallows, many times, was given chicken shit and turned it into gold. He has heart, hustle, and loves wrestling," end quote. Hankerson noted that he was talking to creative on the morning of his firing about new ideas for a new start, went to a funeral, and on the way got a call from John Laurinaitis saying he'd been released.
That's unfortunate. He's an interesting case, isn't he? So he, in total, has been released from WWE three times.
3 times, yeah.
Which is quite something.
Yeah.
Once in the pandemic, 2020, then he's brought back, and then he was released earlier this year, 2025.
Well, the one in the pandemic, obviously, it sucks, but it's also got the very funny story that Carl Anderson tells off the back of it, which is in 2019 when their contracts were coming up and that AEW was starting over there. Triple H took him to one side and be like, you've got to think about job security. Don't be looking over there. They might not be around in 3 years' time. You want to stick here where you know you're going to have a job. And then he was fired like 6 months later.
Yeah. But he fell on his feet. Not only did he started the Bullet Club in New Japan and, had many successful
He was about this time here, not like he started Bullet Club in 2020.
Yeah.
In 2020 he became Quizlemania Tag Team Champion.
Exactly. And the highest accolade.
And then Talk and Shopper Mania.
Which was so funny.
Yeah.
Gallows and Anderson, such a funny pair to watch do interviews. In a way you don't get with a lot of others because they're quite hard-drinking guys. And, everyone else is just nerds who play on their video games backstage now. Yeah.
They almost feel like a harken back to the shoot interview era that you would have got on like RF video and stuff. Like you'd have listened to it in 2005. They'd be like, here's everything you should know about working in WWE. I've got some axes to grind here. Lance Hoyt had long hair for most of his career, but WWE made him cut it. And the new look took away whatever charisma he had in TNA, where he came across with a lot more star power. Not that he was a great superstar, but at least had something. With no special in-ring skills in WWE, he became a generic tall guy that nobody cared about. They tried to push him as a psychotic heel, but it never really went anywhere. He was moved to SmackDown after the folding of ECW, briefly teamed with Kurt Hawkins called the Gate Crashers. They were used for several weeks and then dropped. An angle was shot last month on Superstars to break the team up.
That's a shame. Again, Lance Archer is what we know him as in AEW. WCW. He again went somewhere. There wasn't a North American real viable alternative because he'd already done TNA at this point, at this time. So yeah, he's one of those guys that went to Japan and built himself up in...
Really smart move.
In Noah?
Yeah. I think he did New Japan as well, didn't he?
Yeah, he did, but he was part of Suzuki's other...
Yeah.
That faction was in another promotion.
Because he was tagging with Davey Boy.
Yeah.
Fletcher.
Like Killer Death Squad or something.
Yeah. Fletcher, a.k.a. Jillian Hall, was a minor surprise. She'd already been told she was not going to be retained as an active performer, but would stay with the company as a trainer in FCW. She started with...
As a trainer?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, that was a good use of Jillian Hall.
I wouldn't say her in-ring ability ever impressed me a great deal.
She started with Eminem, Mercury, Nitro, and Melina, and eventually was switched to working with JBL when he was the top heel on SmackDown. After the mole gimmick ran its course, she was scheduled to be let go in 2006. An angle was done, scheduled as her swan song, although she wasn't aware of it, where the boogeyman bit off the mole and stuck worms down her pants. Vince McMahon loved how she reacted to the worms down her pants and decided against releasing her. She was made a wrestler on SmackDown. In 2007, she was changed into a lookalike Brooke Hogan and giving a gimmick of singing really bad, a spoof on Brooke. That led to a several-year run in Divas matches and comedy singing spots.
She did have
when
good
Hogan was in
comedy
the bad
chops,
books.
yeah. I suppose you could describe her as the Chelsea Green of her day?
Yeah, I think that's fair, yeah.
bit.
Yeah, so yeah, there was a period in time when Hogan was not in WWE's good graces, so they were often making fun of him, but in particular... making fun of Brooke Hogan, who was attempting to have a singing career.
You don't get those bits in the tribute package, do you?
I thought you were going to say they don't just do things like this anymore, where they're angry at someone, so they put a character on screen that is making fun of them.
Yeah, and you don't hear about hotel fights. It's all DUIs if you get arrested now.
Oh,
Where's the drugs?
Well, there's a DUI coming up in a little bit. Pavone, a.k.a. Kalen Croft, had almost made a career of being one of the better workers in the developmental system. A native of Youngstown, Ohio, he was a huge fan of Bret Hart, and actually when he started his career, was almost a double for a young Hart with long slick hair, same type of face, and even a similar physique. He trained in OVW in 2001 and became a regular on its television show before getting a developmental deal in 2003. He was a star there as a tag team performer with Tank Toland. Later, he and The Miz were a team and held the OVW title. The plan was to bring him up with The Miz as a tag team in 2006. They filmed a series of vignettes between the two, and just before the vignettes were about to start airing, they brought the two to South Padre Island for spring break for more vignettes. While there, Pavone ended up in trouble, reportedly partying too heavy to the point the company fired him, and there wasn't a time period where they were super cautious like they are today. He was brought back in 2008 and given the name Kalen Croft in FCW, had his look completely changed to not look like Bret Hart, and was put in a group called the Dude Busters with Kurt Hawkins and Trent Beretta.
That's the guy we saw in the Select.
That's right.
This was on the Raw where Nexus
our first
debuted.
episode,
yeah.
And he's now been released from WWE.
Yeah, he's not someone I'm familiar with at all.
No.
I thought he was Kurt Hawkins. Just thought he had a different face back then.
But anyway, we are... How long are we?
We are... Oh, before you get into... Sorry,
37 minutes in.
Because I think I know where you're going to go, because you've looked at the clock. Just before you do... Vince McMahon made some writing team shakeups because of house show attendance and pay-per-view buy barometers.
Yeah.
Neither of those metrics really exist these days.
No, that's true.
I just thought that was an interesting thing
it is,
to point out.
Well, I remember you mentioning this on an episode of the WrestleTalk podcast reviewing AEW. This was way back when. So I think this is why people don't give you enough credit for some of your insights on things.
Thank you.
But everyone was sort of looking at the ratings for AEW being like, they're not as bad as people are making out to be. And you were like, but the ticket sales are down.
The canary in the coal mine.
It's like, that's the canary in the coal mine, is that last week's show is not sold as well as the previous week's show, and the show after that is not selling as well as this week's show. That is actually what you should be looking at is AEW currently hot? And actually, you were the one who saw it before. Everyone started to realize, like, oh man, AEW is cold right now, and they're not selling that many tickets. This is like when they started Collision, and they were like, oh, we've sold like 300 tickets for this CM Punk-led show in... Regina, Canada,
North Carolina.
How about that teenage witch, Sabrina?
It's hard to rhyme a word like vagina. Calvin Klein, kinda. North
Carolina.
Hooray for boobies.
Yeah, what an album.
Yeah.
So,
Oh,
yeah.
no, I was just saying. just like to pay tribute every now and then.
Right, so we are about... If you're watching, this is where you put your little timestamp in your comment section to say that the episode starts here. Because it's time to move into TNA news.
Yeah.
I'm very sad to say that there's not a huge amount of TNA news for
Unfortunate.
this episode. The UK version of Bravo is shutting down in January, which means the home of TNA is coming to an end.
Interesting. That's how I used to watch TNA at uni. That's how I really got back into wrestling, really. But of course, Bravo. I imagine this is where Impact then goes to a channel called Challenge.
Yes.
Which is weirdly what birthed WrestleTalk.
It is indeed, yeah. So I thought it was interesting to note that because that is what... There's a few dominoes that still fall, but before we get to that, this is very significant because TNA is actually more popular in the UK than in the US, and there's been no word from TNA signing a new television deal in the country. There is speculation regarding the Extreme Sports channel, which they could likely get on because it already airs Explosion, but that's a gigantic step down to the point that it'd be almost invisible in the marketplace if that is their prime outlet. So that's the current speculation, but as we know, once those dominoes fall, it will end up on Challenge TV, and that will then have a post-show. Not exactly a TNA post-show, but there is a wrestling post-show because Challenge are now looking to get into making their own content. If you're not from the UK, Challenge is a show on Freeview, so it means that anyone can get it, and it just shows old game shows from the 80s and 90s. It would just show reruns of Bullseye, it would show reruns of Nightmare, Blockbusters, Catchphrase, anything they could get their hands on. And that's all it was. It was a quiz show channel. But at some point they decided, we're going to make our own original content. And that really, the two figureheads of that were Video Game Nation, which one of my friends was the director on.
And sort of Laurie cut his teeth on as well.
Exactly. John Robertson was part of that, who then went on to do Darkroom and stuff. That's where High Def High Five comes from. And WrestleTalk TV was the other one, and that would air after the weekly showings of Impact on a Sunday.
Yeah.
And that was my introduction to WrestleTalk because I didn't listen to it when it was a radio show back in the day, in the early 2000s. My introduction to WrestleTalk was I would watch Impact on a Sunday, and then I would watch WrestleTalk directly afterwards. Yeah,
it's a really important part. Like it's just a little detail in wrestling history. But to us, this is almost our origin story.
It is, yeah. Because this is, you then become a director of that show in...
Oh, quite a few years after, only for the death days. Maybe 2013, 2012, 2013.
Yeah. Anyway, in other TNA news, Mick Foley told The Sun when he was in the UK that TNA had asked him about doing a major heel turn, but he felt that he was involved with anti-bullying campaigners and being honoured by reasonableness by Jon Stewart, that it wasn't quite the right time.
Foley used to do a lot of work for charities around women who have been abused as well, I remember. So, yeah, if you're a heel on TV and you're doing a big charity kick, it does clash.
It's the argument they always make about John Cena. You can't turn John Cena heel because the Make-A-Wish stuff is more important.
Yeah.
You can't advertise your company as doing philanthropy unless you're doing things like Make-A-Wish, which is quite a public thing, and then you can boast about that. Yeah. It's the Stephanie McMahon attitude. And Dave continues here. I can see, given almost every heel in some form plays a bully, that would be it would be kind of silly to speak against bullying and then playing a bully on TV. But for example, Dwayne Johnson spoke out against bullying, then did a heel movie role. I don't know that people would equate the two to being a point of contradiction. He said that he did think that getting his book plugged on Raw was because he did interviews defending Linda McMahon, particularly since he leans Democratic, and he could have been a very powerful spokesperson to be used against her if he was so inclined. Quote, I know that he, Vince, appreciated that, but I also think he just woke up one day and decided he liked me.
Yeah. Could be either of those. That taps into what we covered extensively on bragging rights. We think a lot of WWE creative at this time, maybe even the John Cena proper semi-heel turn as part of the Nexus might have been nixed, just because WWE and Vince had a lot of interest in getting Linda McMahon elected to something.
The Senate Championship.
The Senate Championship.
Yeah.
Which she lost. So it was all in vain. But when you spend enough money, you can get anyone elected.
They have spent millions and millions of dollars to try and get Linda elected. And I think we've covered in several episodes, but if this is your first one, at this point, it is the most important thing to the company right now. It is not Cena. It is not the Nexus. It's not Randy Orton. It's not the Miz. It's not the Money in the Bank Championship. It is Linda getting elected. That is the number one purpose of WWE right now. It's one of my favorite periods in that bragging rights because we need to stand up for WWE. YouTube is not something kind to the Hardys. A new YouTube video showing Matt and Jeff at dinner, and they appeared to not be in the best of shape. It was mostly Jeff cutting a promo on CM Punk, claiming that he was the one who made Punk a superstar, flipped him off in the video, claimed he took Ambien to get to sleep, so he's not really straight edge, and then Matt Hardy brought up Amy Dumas, because Punk was dating her at one point.
Later.
And said that she can have periods of emotion, and when that happens, she still calls him. This wasn't as bad as that Chuck Liddell TV appearance a few years ago, because both were more coherent than Liddell, but it felt like the next worst thing.
So that's just someone, a fan who saw the Hardys, interviewed them, put it up on YouTube?
Yeah, they were just having dinner, and they just went up there with a phone or with a camera and just be like, hey, what's going on? And they were like, that fucking CM Punk. If anything, I made him a star.
Well, the previous year, Jeff quit WWE, kind of, I think, because very shortly after, he then got some drug charges put against him. But then he had been feuding with Punk in that excellent Punk slow burn heel turn throughout 2009. And Punk made fun of Jeff after Jeff had left.
Yeah.
And it seems like Jeff wasn't fully on board with that.
No, I mean, the Attitude Era podcast are currently looking at that sort of 2009 period. And it's after Hardy is gone. And it's like the next pay-per-view. They were even saying on their review, like, it feels like Jeff is coming back. The way they talk about it on TV, it feels like, but we know he's not, and we know he's gone. But WWE keep almost teasing that he's going to come back at some point. Regarding some of the most recent WWE cuts, it's been noted that Kurt Angle has been pushing for Charlie Haas and Shelton Benjamin, but has been unable to get them in. So unless it's someone like Mickie James, who they see as a star WWE cut, or Matt Hardy, it's going to be difficult. Another thing for people who have been on SmackDown, like Luke Gallows or Serena, is that I don't know that anyone in TNA decision-making even watches SmackDown.
What? Charlie Haas and Shelton Benjamin were the world's greatest tag team in Ring of Honor at this point. An amazing tag team. And Kurt's like, bring him in. That makes sense. They were a WWE act back in the day.
But it's back in the day. That's not what they're interested in right now. They apparently, from the reports, they're only interested in talent that have been cut now, but are like big name talent, like Mickie James. If you bring Mickie James in, or Matt Hardy, that makes sense, because they're name values from the Attitude Era. But if you can't bring in Gallows, because I don't watch SmackDown, I don't know who he is. Sean Waltman is going on Twitter and complaining about WWE's PG direction and aspects of the wellness policy, and also took credit for Conan winning his racial discrimination lawsuit against TNA, which is actually a follow-on from our TNA story we were doing in the Angle versus Joe era. Quote, some people in TNA were wrong and they were guilty. I witnessed it and had the balls not to remain silent. I get the reason they don't want me, he said. He also said that WWE should have two brands, one aimed at He also said that WWE should have two brands. Now, I know what you're thinking. They do. What he means here is one aimed at intelligent adults and another one aimed at children. He also said they should drop the marijuana policy and steroid policy. Quote, down with that PG shit and drop the marijuana policy. The IOC doesn't even ban it, except during competition. Fuck it. While you're at it, lay off the steroid policy too. People want to see guys with great bodies and the boys want to take it, end quote. When asked if he would give up smoking dope if he got to an offer to go back to WWE, he said, no, I wouldn't. That's my choice, and even Vince doesn't want to stop the boys from smoking weed. It's a BS policy. Now the ban on somas and the whole wellness policy in general is great. That would give WWE an idea if anyone's health is affected. He also wrote, as long as they are testing for marijuana, which is totally R word, I will not pass their drug test. They will drop the pot thing. Watch.
Well, in 2025, attitudes have shifted significantly on marijuana, the Overton window, as they call it. So I think no one's saying, oh, that's a bad idea, Sean Waltman. But then he moves on to the steroid part. And no. It's annoying when I agree with people on like 80% of their stuff.
Yeah.
And then they just throw this one and oh no.
Oh, no, that's a silly thing to say.
And now it's going to look, because I agree with you on all this other stuff, it looks like I'm endorsing rampant steroid use.
Which I think everyone has very much agreed was a bad period of time for wrestling.
I think there is an argument for regulated steroid use, I think. Some really good document if you do your own research. But I wouldn't say what Sean seems to be saying there, which is people just want the best physiques, which implies take all the steroids.
Yeah, take them all.
Die at 40 from a heart attack.
Because if you have a great bod, get a good push.
Yeah.
So you might recall that throughout 2010 has been a big turbulent time for TNA because they had Hogan and Bischoff come in, the Monday Night War, which lasted like 8 weeks, and they have just been brought in loads of old stars from the 80s. They've brought in old WWE stars from the mid-2000s, and nothing has seemed to make any form of difference. They tried to bring in Paul Heyman, but just, conversations fell apart. And Dave writes here, there was a lot of disappointment this week when the ratings came in. You can't overreact to a single rating, but I think doing better than expected against strong competition the week before led them to think that maybe there was some momentum, and this week that talk ended. There's just a lot of resignation right now that there is little that can be done that will move the ratings either up or down from the range they've been at, seemingly forever. So it feels like the penny is dropping in TNA, that it does not matter what they put on. They can put on.
Well,
no, I genuinely think. I suppose in the years to come, when it's Bully Ray on top, they will lose everything.
But I think if they put on a good product, they would slowly increase the audience somewhat.
It's Heyman's, but at this point in TNA's history, they can put on Christopher Daniels versus Shark Boy, and it will draw the same rating as Hulk Hogan versus Ric Flair, or Hulk Hogan in a tag match with Abyss against AJ Styles and Ric Flair.
They wanted a quick fix.
Yeah.
They wanted Jeff Hardy, Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair.
The Nasty Boys.
The Nasty Boys. Why didn't they shift numbers? But they realized, unsurprisingly, the secret was hard, sustained work over years.
Yeah. So back to WWE news, I'm afraid, everyone.
Episode ended, timestamp here.
And it's a follow-on from our story in the last episode after The Undertaker stared down Brock Lesnar at that UFC event. While it's probably not going to happen, given Brock Lesnar's UFC contract specifically bans him from working for any fighting or pro wrestling groups, and Dana White has been pretty adamant about not agreeing to it, plus Undertaker's surgery at this point makes it impossible for major plans to base the show around him, the Lesnar thing from WWE side has basically become just a fantasy idea. Vince was heavily invested in the idea by mid-October. Lesnar and Undertaker were not shooting their own angle and trying to have it sold to Vince, obviously, because Undertaker wouldn't work that way to begin with. Vince was completely aware of everything, although a number of people internally was very small. As noted, no one on the creative team knew anything about it until after UFC 121, and within a few days, except for maybe a referee gig, it thought it was a dead idea once White publicly said it was never going to happen. Vince has recognized that it's going to be difficult to have a big Mania number this year just relying on the roster as it currently is, and there have now been at least 3 different major out-of-the-box ideas that he's pursued.
3? Well, we know The Rock became the host of WrestleMania.
Yeah, and that's the idea that they land on.
What were the other 2, do you think?
Well, that's it. So Dave doesn't actually go into it. Maybe there will be more in the next episode, or we'll try and track this. I know
Brock, maybe.
Well, Brock one's dead, so the Brock one's not going to happen. Dana White has said very publicly, no, Brock's not allowed to go to WWE. The other one I remember from the time was, was it Justin Bieber? Because he was going, when Rock came back to be the guest host, everyone thought, because the reports were it was going to be Bieber. And then The Rock was actually a genuine surprise. And so Justin Bieber, and I think he is also, because he was going to have a match at SummerSlam at one point as well. So he was one of the other ideas that they had. But Dave in this speech then just goes on to be like, I've heard it's an idea, and it's a very good idea if they can execute it well. It's not going to do Trump numbers, but it should shift up the buy rate for WrestleMania.
One of the biggest things in the world, unfortunately, at that time. But one that I think the majority of their normal wrestling audience would hate.
Yes.
So they went in a good direction with The Rock.
Yeah. So, I wanted to tee that up there because that is going to lead directly into WrestleMania 26, which is, I cannot sell WrestleMania with my roster. Mm-hmm. I have to bring in an outside force if we're going to bump up the number.
And that is what starts the part-timer era.
It does. But surely that should be, to use your phrase, a canary in the coal mine. Maybe I should create some stars then, so I don't have to rely on bringing outside forces in.
Well, you've got some stuff. You've got that Wade Barrett guy.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure he'll have a great WrestleMania 26.
You've got that Daniel Bryan kid that the commentators routinely bury.
Yeah. So anyway, you mentioned earlier DUIs. Ruh-roh. Alex Riley was arrested about 1 a.m. on November 17th in Tampa, Florida, for driving under the influence. His real name, Kevin Kiley, is not the first Florida-based WWE to get popped on a similar charge. He was taken to jail and released after posting $500 bond. His timing was pretty bad given the WWE was preparing a round of cuts. What likely saved him is his association with Miz on television. He was said to be pretty nervous for several days, however. WWE did not officially announce any punishment, and he worked the Survivor Series pay-per-view on Sunday. So that's for a Figure 4 report. I then want to take you into a Wrestling Observer report that came. So he was arrested for driving DUI on the 17th of November. On the 19th of November, Shawn Michaels and his family were hit by a drunk driver. All were okay. Michaels wrote on Twitter that he snapped at the driver, but that's understandable. A few people thought the timing of this wouldn't do Alex Riley any great favors, but Riley survived the cut on a day where a lot of people were speculating on him being on the list. The Michaels accident took place the night before the cuts were made, but Riley's arrest on a DUI charge was a couple of days before. There was a feeling that it was very lucky for Riley that Michaels nor his family were hurt, because if they were, things could have been different.
Yeah, and, that isn't so much a petty WWE thing. I think in general, if you get, obviously drink driving's bad. I don't understand it. I really hate the idea of it. When I did drive, I would be so worried if I had 1 pint. I'd be like, okay, now I've got to have a full meal before I get back in the car and wait 2 hours.
Yeah.
But if your co-workers were really seriously injured in an accident caused by a drunk driver, that would make you angry at drunk driving. I think understandably, definitely could get someone fired for it.
Yeah.
and as we've heard earlier, the company is not above punishing people because of other reasons. Arguably, DeJoseph got fired because they would send in a message to Hayes.
Yeah, and Taryn Terrell was let go as a message to McIntyre, perhaps. But with Riley, it's also very interesting to note the reason he was not fired is because he's on TV in a big act with The Miz.
Yeah.
So that's really is what has saved him here.
That was about to win the Money in the Bank cash-in WWE title.
If Kalen Croft was in his position, he would not have been released. It's just that Riley is keeping his job despite the fact he got arrested because his tag partner is about to win the WWE Championship.
And that is the it's really frustrating because of the inconsistency. WWE, here are the rules, and 80% of the roster have to follow those rules. But because WWE choose certain people to push, they are more lenient because they sort of become above the rules because they're more valuable to WWE. That's not a WWE exclusive phenomenon. That happens all across the entertainment industry.
It certainly does.
It's just one of those frustrating facts of life.
MVP has said that he wants to write a book and has two big goals, and one of them is to headline WrestleMania, which isn't looking good, and to wrestle Masahiro Chono at the Tokyo Dome. And given how little Chono wrestles these days, also doesn't look good. Joey Styles was forced to apologize for tweeting that Asuka was eliminated from NXT a few hours before the show aired on the internet. And lastly, the
Asuka?
Oksana,
right, yeah.
And lastly,
very confused there.
The former Alex Kozlov, who obviously can't use the Kozlov name in WWE, is not doing his Russian gimmick, because they already have a Russian called Kozlov, and has been named Alex Sherman. Tyler Black as Seth Rollins put over Richie Steamboat, not Jr. because Vince hates Jr. as a nickname. Miz and Alex Riley also worked on the show. Wes Briscoe, Gerald's son, and Xavier Woods, Consequences Creed, are the current tag team champions, while Mason Ryan is being fast-tracked to the main roster as the new Batista.
Oh yeah, and that worked out, didn't it?
Yeah, well, he's going to be
Batista.
He's going to be part of the new Nexus with CM Punk.
Barely fitting into that Nexus t-shirt.
So, the question now becomes, Ollie Davis. Let me just double check my dates for this. That's the SummerSlam. That's this year's SummerSlam card. I don't need that. What is going to be the UK box office number 1?
November 2010. I mean, we're out of spooky season. Is it late November?
I believe so. I think it's mid-November, actually.
Well, it could still be a spooky thing. It could also be a big action family film that's going to stick around for the Christmas period. Too early for an out-and-out Christmas release. I think I need some clues.
So yes, November 21st. There's your first clue. I can tell you that the previous movies that you and I have discussed on this show.
Okay, yeah.
So obviously the last one we had, you didn't get you eventually got to The Other Guys in the Hell in a Cell review, and then it was the same movie in Bragging Rights, and you eventually got to it again that it was The Other Guys.
And this is not The Other Guys.
It is. I can say it is not The Other Guys. That was then beaten by Wall Street, Money Never Sleeps.
The sequel, yeah.
Which was then beaten by Despicable Me.
The first one,
which was then beaten by Paranormal Activity. And then Paranormal Activity 2.
I feel like I got Paranormal Activity. Wasn't that Bragging Rights?
I thought Bragging Rights was The Other Guys again.
Oh.
And then on the 31st of October, it was Saw 3D, which brings us into... then it was the movie Due Date, which was number 1
Is that a comedy?
It is, with
a
Robert
lady
Downey...
comedy?
No, it's Robert Downey Jr. and Zach Galifianakis.
Oh, yeah, with the baby and the... I remember the DVD cover.
Which leads us into what is our new number 1 at the UK box office and will be number 1 for the next 3 weeks.
It's a big hitter.
Big hitter.
Big hitter.
I went to the pictures to see this one as well.
Sometimes...
I was taken by people to see it.
Well, so it is an Oscar sort of movie.
Oh, no.
No?
Not that sort of
So
thing.
you wouldn't have chosen to go see it yourself?
Nope.
So it's a good film. Is it sort of a... It's not a... Is it sort of more of an intellectual movie? No.
I think this is for... it's for kids.
It's a kids' movie.
But, but maybe they're a bit more grown up now.
And it's not a Pixar movie?
No.
It's for kids, but the kids... Oh, is it a Harry Potter movie? It's Harry Potter Deathly Hallows Part 2. Part 1!
Yeah, I was never a Harry Potter kid.
Yeah.
I didn't read the books. I was just too old for them, which was weird. Like, I feel like I am in this very weird, small age group where I was too old for Harry Potter, but I was also too young to be an adult that was reading Harry Potter, because there was like this just group of... My parents read it, and like they bought the books when they came out. It never got me.
The Lost Generation.
Yeah, I mean, I read... Because my parents had read it, they were like, "Oh, we think you might like this," and they gave me the first book, and I was like, "Nah, it's baby stuff. This is kids nonsense. This is not for me whatsoever."
Where's the gore? Where's the hard-boiled detective?
There's no goosebumps here. Give me goosebumps. So I never got into it, and with the films, I liked 2 of the films. I liked the third one.
Azkaban, yeah.
It's got time travel in it.
And Alfonso Cuarón directed it.
Yeah. I went to go see the first one at the Pictures, and I was like, it's a kid's film with bad acting in it. Never saw the second one, which I think is actually the longest movie in the series. Like all the film series. It's the shortest book and it's the longest film. And then I saw the third one when I was at uni, because it was on Sky Movies once, and I was like, I'm not doing anything else, I'll watch this. And I was like, actually, that wasn't bad. And then I really liked Goblet of Fire. But Goblet of Fire was rad. My boy!
Yeah.
Oh, my boy! Oh, my boy!
It's got our Pats in.
Yeah. I thought that film was pretty good. I was like, maybe I've been wrong about this Harry Potter thing. Then I watched the fifth movie. I was like, oh, no, I was right. This isn't all that great. And then I had zero interest in it afterwards. But my girlfriend at the time, who was a huge Harry Potter fan, dragged me to see this one. And I remember this was the first one because they'd split it into 2 parts. It meant they could do more of the book, which meant they were talking about stuff that's in the book, but has not been in the films.
It's the Justice League trap.
Yeah.
Where you're referencing... What director's cut are you referencing here?
So all of a sudden, like, Dobby the House Elf is like is a major character. And I was like, oh, yeah, he hasn't been in any of the movies. And my girlfriend was like, oh, but he's in all the books.
Yeah.
I haven't read the books. Like, he means nothing to me. So him dying means absolutely jack shit to me.
Yeah, I mean, I read all the books, and I did not get on with Dobby as a character. I only read them to get girls, though. I also went with a girl I was seeing at the time, and I remember just being in the front row of a cinema, and it was packed out behind us, and it was just all kids and families. And I thought, oh, this feels a bit weird. And also, I don't think they're great films. It's also the start of the phenomenon of splitting the final installment into two.
Yeah, Hunger Games did it. Twilight did it.
Yeah, and it just became immediately it was a parody of corporate greed.
Yeah. Well, to the point where Wicked, when it came out last year, didn't advertise that it was a part one. It just said, it's just Wicked.
And the second Spider-Man movie, the animated one, that was a very sort of... I didn't know until the film started. And Laurie went, by the way, this is a first part of two.
Wicked,
what?
Wicked is hilarious as well because they don't advertise it's a musical either. So when the movie starts, it's immediately a musical and it says part one. And everybody's like, suckers! We got you. You're stuck there now. You've already paid for your ticket. You can't get out of it now.
But going back to Deathly Hallows, Dobby, I was like, I find Dobby a crap character and annoying. Like an annoying cat, like Jar Jar Binks level.
It's Jar Jar.
And everyone was sad, and the girlfriend at the time was crying. And I was like, maybe this isn't for me. Both the relationship and the film.
I've only got... My only memory of the second part two is the bad makeup that they have all at the end where they're meant to look like they're in their 40s.
Oh, yes, that's lame.
Yeah, that was pretty hilarious. That's the only thing I really remember of that second movie.
What about
that? And I realised you can't...
Voldemort fetus getting a train.
I don't remember that.
Don't remember that bit?
I don't remember that at all. The only other thing I remember is saying to my girlfriend and her being really annoyed, it's like, well, they're not as good as lightsaber fights, are they?
They're not.
Because lightsaber fights are quite dynamic.
Yeah.
This is just doing force push fights, which aren't dynamic because you're just doing this. And just
Splassiosa.
Yeah, you're just shooting lasers at each other and just going, ooh. Not as good. So, do you have a guess for Music Boy as to what the song is?
Well, this is my era.
It has been number one since... Let me get my dates right here.
Was it CeeLo still? FU?
No, it has actually just become the number one. So, you're right. We did have... Where did you get to? Where is CeeLo? I've got the wrong year. Sorry, apologies. I was about to read you 2011 there.
Oh.
2010.
I would have got it.
So it was CeeLo Green, Forget You. And then that was replaced by the re-entry of Bruno Mars, Just the Way You Are. And then we had Cheryl Cool's Promise This. And now we have a number one. It's been in its second week. Has been number one since the 13th November 2010.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Rihanna. Oh, Rude Boy.
No.
Pre-Rude Boy. Found Love in a Hopeless Place, I feel like we've already had. So what else is around that time for Rihanna? It's like this SOS and Umbrella, that's in the noughties. This is teens Rihanna.
2010 now.
2010.
It's a new decade.
Yeah, it's a new dawn for Rihanna. She's reinvented herself as something more sexy. And I've said Rude Boy. Isn't there another one where it's really like sadomasochistic fetish stuff in the
S&M?
Is it just called S&M?
Yeah.
Is it S&M?
No, it's not that one. No. Yeah, it wasn't even subtle.
California king size bed.
No.
Give me a clue.
It has got brackets in the title.
I don't know.
So you get to open and close and brackets.
Mm-hmm.
What other clues can I give you? I know.
Is it just a Rihanna solo thing?
Yeah,
No.
I know. It's off the fifth album, Loud. I actually do know this song. It was in collaboration with producer Stargate. I don't think SG1.
The movie version. Then.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
right. So it's got what's his name? Who plays Ultron?
James Spader.
Yeah, so it's got James Spader in and not the other guy.
Backed by this is from the Wikipedia write-up of it. Backed by a strong bass and synthesizer, it is a dance pop and Euro dance song that has an electric composition.
Dance pop. Can you just give me a clue, like a pun on the title, or maybe what it's about? I mean, usually I'm music video led. If you could just describe the music video to me.
Okay, so I'll load the music video and I will put this on silent and we will see how we do. All right. Rihanna. While I'm searching for this, no, I don't want the Fleetwood Mac song.
So it shares the name of a Fleetwood Mac song.
Well, no, Rihanna is a song by Fleetwood Mac. I believe there's a thing from, I think it is Rihanna, that James Corden really wants to do carpool karaoke with her, but she keeps telling him, I'll do it when I release a new album. Then she won't release a new album because that's how much she doesn't want to do carpool karaoke. And, I would do the same thing.
Yeah.
I would cancel my entire music career if I meant I didn't have to hang out with James Corden for half an hour.
But then there's Gavin and Stacey. And I love Gavin and Stacey.
Yeah, Gavin and Stacey, I feel about Gavin and Stacey the way I also feel and everyone else feels about Mrs. Brown's Boys. It's like, this is the most bog standard base level British sitcom, but it's inexplicably popular.
You're missing the humanity of those characters. It's
Mrs. Brown's Boys, yeah.
It's a beautiful show.
So it is red fields. Rihanna is in a white dress with a white headband. A sun is coming up. It's a bit Michael Bay. And she is sort of sponsoring. Oh, there's a lot of shots. She's got red hair.
I can picture
She's now got a white crop top on. She's got some fur on and like a little feather boa thing as well. Like a little fur feather boa thing. She's in some flowers. She's like dancing in the flowers. She's got a flowery dress on.
I'm not going to get it. Tell me.
What if I hold the video up?
Yeah, I mean, I remember this.
Yep.
But I can't remember the...
I want to make me feel...
I'm the only girl in the world. Na, 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 na. Is it Make Me Feel brackets Only Girl in the World or something?
It is called Only Girl brackets in the World,
yes.
Close brackets.
In the world.
We nearly got there.
Yeah, I pretty much got that first try, I think. I got the artist first try.
Your tried and tested tactic of just naming artists from this era did pay off.
Well, there's only 5 artists from 2010 to 2012. It's Rihanna, Calvin Harris, Dizzy Rascal, Adele, and Girls Aloud.
Yeah. So, do you want to have a guess at what the thumbs up, thumbs down ratio was from the readers of the Wrestling Observer newsletter?
Probably 80% thumbs up, knowing them.
I can tell you it was 35% thumbs up, 32% thumbs down, 32% thumbs in the middle.
Wow. Get off the fence, Wrestling Observer board.
With obviously some point percentiles in there as well. What do you think the best match went to?
Well, I really like the elimination match. It's probably Caval Dolph Ziggler, though.
It is not. I also really enjoyed the Survivor Series 5-on-5 elimination match. I thought it was the best match on the show.
Yeah, I was really surprised how much I got into it by the end.
Because it was our third elimination match. I had a ball of time with it.
Are they gonna? I feel like the Daniel Bryan Ted DiBiase match is too boring. But is it that one?
You're underestimating the readers of the Wrestling Observer newsletter. Of course, it's the Bryan Danielson match.
Yeah.
And what went to the worst match?
Probably the women's 2-on-1 because it goes like 2 minutes.
Nope.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it Kane Edge?
You are Miss. You are. What's the word I'm after? You are. I mean, yeah, you're right. It's Kane versus Edge. But you are. What's the word I'm after? It's like you are. I feel like I just said it as well. But of course, the Wrestling Observer readers voted for the Kane match to be the worst one. Mm-hmm. But the big news actually is going to not really come from Survivor Series. It comes the following night after Survivor Series on Monday Night Raw, where
John Cena got fired.
We'll come to that in a little bit.
That's the biggest news.
That actually becomes the second biggest news story of the week. As Dave writes here, Mike the Miz Mizanin cashed in his Money in the Bank briefcase live on Monday Night Raw in Orlando, beating Randy Orton, who was suffering a knee injury from a pre-match attack for his title defense against Wade Barrett. Orton retained the title due to outside interference from a fired John Cena when Miz came down with Alex Riley and the briefcase. After 2 minutes of 43, most of it Miz working over Orton's knee with one brief comeback, Miz blocked the RKO and hit a skull-crushing finale to win the title. Raw had a fresh feel, with Cena doing his retirement speech after he was fired the night before at Survivor Series. He refused to cheat as a referee and counted to 3 as Orton pinned Barrett for the first time after an RKO. Of course, Cena won't be selling the firing for a week. He's already been announced for the next 3-hour show with an angle that he's buying a ticket to sit at ringside. On the Raw television show, in all markets where Raw house shows were upcoming, even though fired, the ads were listing Cena in every main event.
I don't mind that, by the way.
That he's working the house shows.
Yeah, it's not ideal, but I get you do that, and then the TV can have its own continuity.
This is where you're missing the big picture, Ollie Davis, because although are they really advertising John Cena? Because the current plan is for Cena to work all the house shows and upcoming TVs under a mask as Juan Cena, John's Mexican cousin, constantly harassing Barrett until Barrett opts to allow John Cena to return. The angle's been done a million times with the top babyface, with them losing a loser leaves town match and coming back with a mask. At times it's worked, and at other times it's flopped miserably. Last time WWE did it with Hulk Hogan as Mr. America, you ended up with a babyface about 60% as over as Hulk Hogan would be, and it meant nothing.
I like the Mr. America stuff.
Well, you get the lie detector test segment, but that's one segment.
Yeah.
To me, the best thing would have been for Cena to leave for at least a few weeks so
what
people
was the
can
Mr. America stuff in the tribute videos?
They have the TNA stuff in there. They didn't have Gillian Hall making fun of his daughter. Then they didn't have the Mr. America stuff.
Or him looking in the mirror for the Ultimate Warrior. Is that right? That's right.
Or and then Bischoff coming and be like, "What are you reacting to?" Or one of my other favorites is during his Vince McMahon. I mean, you can't put the Vince McMahon feud in there, I guess. But when he says to Vince McMahon, "You just thought I was the right guy at the right time," but what he says is, "You thought I was the right gay."
What does that take?
To me, the best thing would have been for Cena to leave for at least a few weeks so people believe in the stip. They're so afraid ratings will get hurt without him, and they won't, that they can't play out an angle without giving people another reason not to buy extreme stip pay-per-views because they know they're all bullshit. Plus, if he's actually gone for a few weeks, people will miss him and actually want him back, and his return may mean a little. Instead, they perfectly set up his departure meaning something with a great promo on Raw, and then none of it means anything because he doesn't leave for at least a little while. He could have just not appeared on TV and still work the house shows with the idea he has to appear where he's been advertised for a certain length of time. But behind the scenes, a lot has been talked about in the decision making regarding pay-per-view versus television. The Survivor Series show teased a lot and delivered very little. The Edge vs. Kane match was built on television around Paul Bearer being kidnapped by Edge. On the pay-per-view, instead of a storyline advancement or resolution, Bearer never appeared, and Edge and Kane had a lackluster double pin draw finish. With Orton versus Barrett on television the week before the show, Cena said that he was going to call it down the middle. If it means getting fired, he would. Miz also heavily hinted that it was time for him to cash in the briefcase on the pay-per-view. Orton versus Barrett ended up being another lackluster match, and Cena did what he said, refereeing evenly, counting Barrett's shoulders and getting pinned. Miz never came out to cash in on things. Instead, it was saved for television. The upside was that more people saw Miz win the world title on television. The downside is people who bought the pay-per-view expecting the big match and major storyline changes instead had to wait for Raw the next night to get them for free. Instead of rewarding the paying fans and making the pay-per-view seem special, it was the pay-per-view that came across as the secondary show. The paying fans felt that they should have saved their money, and even more the key was non-paying fans showed that it was a sign that they should stay away and they missed nothing important and got to see the important stuff because they decided not to buy the pay-per-view. If the company's goal is to make television the key, there's nothing wrong with that. But when at least the last few investors conference call, the talk has been putting a major priority in turning pay-per-view around. From a psychological standpoint this weekend, they did everything to make sure that wouldn't happen. It's another in a series of average pay-per-views at a high price, with most of the exciting stuff saved for the next day.
Yeah.
And I did. And I wrote an article for the Wrestling Observer, and it was printed on the front page. And I did so much to try and find it.
Oh, but you couldn't.
I couldn't find it. So I spent probably more time than I should have done, and I got genuinely annoyed because it's the Observer archives only go back 10 years, and after 10 years everything else just kind of is wiped off, so they only go back to 2015. If you search for my name, it just keeps bringing up results for Kevin Owens because their search filter is not all that great.
And your name is Luke Owens.
Exactly, as a lot of people already know. So I couldn't find it that way. And then I thought, Facebook.
Oh, yeah, link.
I was using Facebook at the time. I would have posted about this.
Luke Owens is not subscribing to the... I'm done with the...
Exactly. So I went to my Facebook page, which I have not visited in a number of years.
Well, because it went quite right-wing, didn't it?
I just don't want people seeing my really right-wing views.
You went to some weird versions of Lives Matter. I'd never heard of those colours.
I was just big. I thought Kermit was being so disrespectful. I was like, Green Lives Matter today. So then I started to scroll. And I'm scrolling.
Really?
And I'm scrolling.
You post so much bollocks on social media too.
I was scrolling and I got to 2017 and I was like, I've got another 7 years to scroll here yet. So I opened up another Facebook tab and I was like, surely there's an easier way to do this. And turns out at the top there's filter by year. So I filtered by year and I was like, brilliant.
Enhance.
I was like, brilliant. This is towards the end of the year. It'll be one of my more recent posts. So I was going to pass all the birthday messages because my birthday's in December. And I get there and it's November. And there it is. November 27th, 2010. Luke Owen has posted, I had an article published by the Wrestling Observer, brackets, the biggest wrestling media news organization in the world. And I'm really proud of myself. With no link to the article.
Oh, mate. Have you tried the Wayback Machine?
Oh, I didn't think of that. Do you know what? And then I went to Twitter. Twitter, I was like, it's not available like freely to use on the website, but if you just search for Twitter Advanced Search, you can get into the advanced search function of the website. So then I went onto it there, and I typed in the year, typed in the date, and there it was, November 27th. Had an article posted by the Wrestling Observer, and I'm really proud of myself with no damn link. A moron. So do you know what I did then? I emailed the webmaster of the Wrestling Observer website because I know him and said, here's the deal. I wrote an article on this date and you guys published it. Is there any way? And I think what might have happened, going by the comments left on my Facebook post, this was still back in the day when even stuff that was on the front page of the Wrestling Observer site was behind the paywall. So they would have like a free daily update or like the free Wrestling Observer live. But anything that was written for the website was you had to be a subscriber to the website to be able to read. So I think that's why I didn't link it, because there was no way for people to actually read it unless you paid for it on the site.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, which they don't do now. Now, actually, they do a lot of free stuff, and it's just the newsletter and a lot of the radio shows.
Well, let me just quickly. I don't know how to do this on a tablet.
I have
got some way back screenshots for 2010.
Well, we're going to be breaking for lunch at some point soon, so I'll try and do it in our lunch break.
Yeah,
see if I can find it then.
Cool.
As for The Miz, he's done a great job verbally in recent months. When he got the world title, there was some negativity from people who remember him from the real world, and getting into a fight on the show in one episode was not faring well. He also got toyed with an arm wrestling match like he was a grade schooler against a high schooler on Tough Enough. But we are so fast past that era where a world champion is someone in the public has to believe is a really tough guy. It's all about performance, and those old values mean nothing. When was the last time someone asked you if it was real? Could this champion beat a champion from another group? The question is outright silly, yet in the 70s and 80s, it was the most frequently asked question by fans, and the question still remained. Whether any of these guys would be tough enough to fight real is immaterial. Even if they lack that something special, that card they can draw on top isn't as big deal as it was in the 90s when business patterns changed depending upon who was the champion. Nobody sees the champion as necessarily the top guy on the brand, but he's still a main event focal point most of the time. Miz will likely be fine in the role, and even if he's not, it's not like they're shy about making changes in the belt.
And he'll stay the champion and retain at WrestleMania.
In one of the worst WrestleMania main events. If not, had it not been for Cena Cody, maybe the worst WrestleMania main event in history, Cena versus Miz. I actually still think it might be Cena Miz because it's got the Duff finish. But yeah, so that's the argument of The Miz. And I know Brian Alvarez would go off on this for the next few months, being like, I'm not scared of The Miz.
To this day, he still talks about how The Miz is not a threatening person.
He's not.
He's not.
He's not a threatening person. But like that is the character he's on TV as well. So he's not supposed to be a threatening person. You're not supposed to take The Miz seriously as a wrestler or as a heel. He is a joke champion.
Which is, I've never really subscribed to the toughest guy should be the champion. It should be the most popular guy or best heel that can work with a popular guy. But you do want credibility across the whole roster, really. You need to have something where they are good in the ring, because these are, in theory, professional competitive athletes. And when The Miz hasn't been booked to win anything clean, and he always relies on cheating or he's second, he's not even portrayed as a good cheater, I would say. Like Angle, even though he cheated because he was a bad guy, not because he had to.
Yeah.
And he could beat you in the ring.
Exactly. But he's an Olympic athlete. Like, he should really be the top guy in this company, but he's using underhanded tactics to win that he doesn't need to do, but he's doing it because he can't face the idea that he might lose.
But or Edge and Jericho, they've got a threat in the ring, but it's more their wiliness and the ultimate opportunist, and they can take advantage of certain things their intelligence, really.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like Miz's character has that either.
No.
He's a narcissist. He's an egotist. It's not enough to be the top champion in a company, even at a time when the top champion of a company supposedly doesn't matter. But it does, really. It's just the state WWE have gotten themselves in 2010. Because you look in the Levesque era, who's the champion is incredibly important.
I mean, look at the run he's had on this run of shows that we've done. He wasn't picked to be part of the SummerSlam team. He lost the US title to Daniel Bryan. He then lost the rematch for that title with Daniel Bryan. And now he's the champion. That is all he's done. Because on the last show, he just cut a promo.
He won Money in the Bank in this arc.
Oh, God, yeah, he did. That's how he wins this. I actually forgot he was one of them. We've done Money in the Bank, yeah. So, yeah, it's the one thing he's done then. He won Money in the Bank, then lost a bunch, didn't get picked, and now is the champion.
And even, I mean, do you want to talk about we can do the full review of it when we get into the play-by-play stuff. But he doesn't even cash in effectively. Orton has been beaten up. Then he has the match against Wade injured, and Cena costs Wade that match. So Orton wins. Then The Miz comes down, and Orton fights him off for quite some time.
It's a 3-minute match.
Yeah, and then Miz just gets a skull-crushing finale at the end.
Yeah.
So he's even not shown as that credible or smart in the moment of his winning.
No, exactly. He took advantage of an opportunity in Randy was hurt. But it's not like... it still then took him 3 minutes to beat him.
It was still kind of a struggle. Yeah. That's how much of a threat Miz is.
But that is his character. It's when people say, oh, man, Miz, what a serious heel. No, he's a joke. And that is kind of the point of The Miz, is he's not a credible threat. So when he's the world champion, it's like, why is this not credible threat the world champion? So you as an audience member want to see someone who should be a credible threat beat him and expose him for the fraud that he is.
He's less credible than the Honky Tonk Man.
Yeah. Well, that's it. Yeah, exactly. It'd be like if the Honky Tonk Man was the world champion. But there's this idea that people have, no, Miz is a serious heel. And I just don't think he is.
No, I think, when you watch that one promo on Talking Smack on Twitter enough, you start to believe that's the whole of Miz's career.
Yeah, it's 10 years ago.
And it's also one promo.
One promo, because otherwise I've got massive balls.
Yeah.
That's what he is. It's his wife with a brick in a handbag stuff. That's what the Miz character is. He's a reality TV show guy who should not have been the world champion. But he's a 2-time world champion.
And one at WrestleMania.
And as a WrestleMania,
in the main event.
As a WrestleMania main eventer.
CM Punk still, in my view, has not main evented a Mania.
Well,
The Miz has and retained.
You can watch Unreal. The other thing from Survivor Series, as Dave writes here, there were no hints or teasers for WrestleMania, which Survivor Series often has. Instead, it was largely a straightforward average show, but for $44.95, you can't produce mostly average shows. Right now, the company has a real problem at a main event level. With Kane as champion, they've had a string of bad matches in a row on the SmackDown side. Randy Orton has not been able to make it as a babyface to have the matches close to the level he was having when he was a heel. Wade Barrett is a great talker, but he's not the guy who's going to have great world title matches on top. Whether they are connecting or not seems a contradiction. All the Florida crowds this past week were disappointments. Survivor Series at the American Airlines Arena in Miami drew 8,000 in total, well under that figure paid. It was one of the few times in history where a ringside in front of the hard camera you saw empty seats all night. Some in the company attributed the disappointing crowd to the NASCAR race in the market, but others laughed at that suggestion. The crowd was also on the dead side, with most of the matches not getting much heat. Which I think is fair. I'd say it's only really it's Cena and I think the 10-on-10, the 5-on-5 tag. And it's mostly for Ray than anyone else. And MVP because he's local boy. Raw the next night in Orlando drew 6,000, barely half full. And even though disappointing in numbers, the ones who were there were rabid and the crowd reactions were excellent and added to the show. SmackDown in Jacksonville only drew 3,000, which may have been the smallest number for a television taping this year. But the bad crowds at TV kind of hurt those espousing the NASCAR excuse the first night. The only thing we heard regarding pay-per-view numbers in the early estimates is it was coming in at about 1/4 of what UFC 123 did the night before, which would mean between 100 and 150,000 buys. Last year's show, considered a huge disappointment, did 136,000 buys in North America. The key to whether this did anything above the usual levels is how seriously people bought the Cena question.
Isn't it interesting? I've not really compared it, but say it's like 130, 140 again. AEW is doing better numbers on pay-per-view for most of their shows than that now 15 years later, because the TV
in a non-pay-per-view markets that we kind of have these days.
Yeah, but I don't know so much. I think people are like boxing big matches, you still get pay-per-view. It's just not WWE moved away from that wrestling model. Especially like with the streaming pay-per-view, it's a lot more easy access now. It's just a lot easier to order a pay-per-view on Amazon Prime especially. But TV viewership has really been affected. You can't compare 2010 figures to 2025 figures. But this is Survivor Series, one of the big five of WWE shows with technically a big angle with John Cena's career on the line. And they did 136,000 buys. And AEW these days probably average about 150.
Yeah, I'm just going to see if I can find Survivor. I should have looked this up earlier. Survivor Series 2010 buy rate. What was the buy rate for this show? Okay, well, Google AI has told me incorrect information. I can tell you that now because it says that Survivor Series 2010 did 235,000 buys. And we know that that's not...
those early estimates.
They were really off. Let's have a look. So I can do this by... Thankfully, I've got WrestleNomics on my side here.
Oh, they're the best.
Oh, WrestleNomics.
They know all the data.
That's it. And they've got a brilliant... They literally have every WWE pay-per-view buy rates, and you can order it by name. So you can do it alphabetically. So you can quite easily get to Survivor Series 2010. Did 127 domestic.
Wow.
127,000, obviously. So that is also down from the previous year, even though this has the big Cena firing angle. So yeah, interesting. Should we... actually, there's one last thing about the show itself. Before the show, they did an in-house angle. David Arquette was at ringside, introduced as a former WCW World Heavyweight Champion. Arquette ended up hopping over the barricade and jumping up and down on the announcer's table. A few security guards attacked him and dragged him out through the front door, and he wasn't seen during the show.
That was a planned angle?
Yeah.
Just for the live crowd?
For the live crowd before it started.
It's a bit of fun.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
The announcing ended up being something that was little said about all night until the money call. When Orton pinned Barrett, Matt Striker exclaimed how that means that Cena is out of the Nexus, saying enthusiastically he was supposed to be somber, and it wasn't about Cena being out of Nexus, but being fired by WWE. The explanation in that in order to get more surprise reaction, they didn't tell the announcers the finish. Striker, lightly preparing for what he expected to happen, made a mental error when the opposite happened. So yeah, there you go.
That error was mental.
We will. There's actually some more on Striker a little bit later on.
Joy.
When we get into some of the reviews, but it's actually time to get into the show itself because for 20 long years, it's all been about survival And tonight, that tradition continues. That is basically the intro to this show.
We get childhood footage of John Cena, and then it flashes forward to him now being a part of the Nexus. This really is the John Cena show. He's not in an actual match.
Hey, but he's featured in the main event.
But yeah, he is the special guest referee for the main event. Yeah, but the whole thing is John Cena, John Cena, John Cena, and we also get a shot of Bret Hart because he occasionally appears as the Jedi giving advice, and he mumbles, "You're spitting in the face of all the wrestlers you claim to respect.
I think you're spitting in the face of those people who were former champions. I'm a former champion myself."
And it's like, but John Cena is doing what the stipulations said he should do.
Well, I know.
He lost fair and square. Did he lose fair and square?
Well, no, he caused. Husky
when
Harris.
Wade beat him originally.
Wait. Yeah, Husky Harris and Michael McGillicuddy, fans jumped him from ringside, and when it came to bragging rights, he screwed Wade Barrett, which is now what's got him into this situation. But I guess what Brett is saying is that you can't keep your job by just putting the world title on this guy. The most honorable thing to do really is to just call this down the middle. And if you lose your job, then so be it. But you cannot just give this guy the world title just to keep your own job.
Oh, okay. So is that what WWE is framing as the honorable, moral thing to do?
Yeah.
He doesn't do that. Like a little bitch, he gets immediately angry when he's shoved a little bit.
Yeah.
And hits a move on Wade Barrett, spoiler, and Randy Orton wins.
Yeah, but he does up until that point. He is calling...
Oh, yeah. But as soon as someone lays hands on him...
Yeah. Well,
if he was being a proper referee, he'd take a bump for 2 minutes.
Also, where this story, I don't think, just fully works is if you've got Bret Hart being there, being you'd spit in the face of all the former champions that people like me represent. But Cena keeps saying, I'm going to call it down the middle.
Mm.
So he's doing what the legends want him to do. I don't know what they're mad about.
Yeah, it's really oh god,
sad Cena.
So
much sad Cena on the show.
We're recording this the week of WWE Unreal being released, and after episode 2, my partner said, "I think John Cena's my favorite wrestler because he comes across very well with the Make-A-Wish stuff." And
would you like to ask a question?
I just went on a rant at her about how John Cena is a crap wrestler and he was rubbish for so long. And I couldn't quite describe why this really nice guy who does all this Make-A-Wish charity work is the worst thing to happen to wrestling during my 20s. But I think this one image does. Freaking Grimace over here. Make the purple pop. Let's desaturate the image. Everything else is black and white in these stands, and there is a brooding John Cena in his purple and yellow Fruity Pebbles t-shirt.
I think the purple and yellow is the worst of the John Cena looks.
Yeah, because this is the time when he should be wearing the black and yellow of the Nexus.
He should be in the Nexus t-shirt. For starters, yes.
It's just, this is the Schindler's List thing. It's like the girl in red, but they're doing it with John Cena's purple shirt.
Yeah.
Oh, he looks like such a dork.
He does look like a dork, doesn't he? And then, again, talking about WWE Unreal, he made his return in 2024 to announce that he's retiring in 2025. And he's decked in head to toe in his goofy gear there as well. I'm like, you just look like such a div.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's actually the look of John Cena is one of the things that annoys me the most about John Cena. Because his matches are broadly, they're bland and bang average for the most part. He does things competently well. His selling is dog shit, but he does everything else competently well. I think it is his gear and his t-shirts that annoy me the most.
It's the way he looks.
It is the way he looks, and his promos annoy me. But yeah, so anyway, he's sad because he's either...
And the noise at the start of his entrance music. And the way he runs down to the ring.
Yeah.
And his salute.
With this little weird Barbie run.
And the way he makes serious angles all about himself.
Yeah. The way he doesn't really actually put people over during matches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But mostly the t-shirt.
So, like Roddy Piper's trying to he's annoyed at it. Would you spit in my face? Brett's annoyed at him. And then John Cena he's either going to do the right thing and be fired, or he's going to be putting the world title on Wade Barrett and the Nexus.
But so the stipulation is Wade has to win. If Wade doesn't win, Cena gets fired.
Correct. And if Wade wins, then Cena is free of the Nexus, and that's why he's so desperate to be to be free of the Nexus, because they've made his life miserable up until this point.
He won the tag team championships.
He's won all the matches he's been in. It's been bloody awful being part of I haven't had to wear the t-shirt. I haven't had to do anything. I had to jump out of a battle royal once. It's been rubbish being part of the Nexus.
It's a toxic place for see. Look at the guy. Look at this guy.
He's had to hang out with Michael McGillicuddy and David Otunga day after day. It's been rubbish being in the Nexus.
I wish we did get some skits where they are just all on the Nexus bus together. On the Nexus coach, and Cena's being made to clean up and everything, and carry the bags.
Oh, well, that would have got the angle over. And I don't think that's the intent here. Linda's running for office. So he's either going to be free of the Nexus, or he's going to be fired for doing the right thing, because we don't want the bloody Nexus having.
But what if Wade just wins clean?
That'd be awful.
Oh, that wouldn't happen.
But at least
because that's what the story's saying. Wade cannot beat Randy properly.
At least it would have been honourable if he called it down the middle. But is that the right thing to do? Because we don't want Wade as champion.
But that would have been a way to get Wade over, though. That Wade genuinely wins.
What, that he wins matches? Steady on there with your mad ideas.
Why build the new stars when Justin Bieber is over there? Look, if Wade just beats Randy Orton clean.
Yeah.
He won via DQ in the first match because of Cena stuff. Have him win credibly here. You put over Wade as a new top star. He's got the WWE title. Cena gets out of the Nexus, and there is an inbuilt storyline right away. Randy can be pissed. There's a couple of dynamics bouncing off each other. The Miz has got the briefcase.
Sorry, did you say Wade? I think you meant Dwade, because that's who we're bringing in to save WrestleMania.
One of the big three ideas, and they never once thought... Maybe we should just make a big new star.
Maybe we should make someone.
Maybe we should sit 2011 out.
Yeah.
And just build Wade that year.
Yeah, it was what Heyman was suggesting to TNA. It's we're not going to make any big difference for the next 3 to 6 months. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Then I don't want to hear it. I've got zero interest in this idea.
But instead, they kept with Cena and Orton for 4 more years.
Yep, sure do. Anyway, Paper Jams presents Survivor Series. Tonight we will find out if John Cena's career survives. But before that, we have our opening contest as United States Champion Daniel Bryan defends against Captain Bland himself, Ted DiBiase.
How did this apple fall so far from the tree? Was it on the top of a hill and the apple rolled down?
I mean, look, he's no David Flair. But he's also no Charlotte Flair either.
No.
He is actually just he's a shade of beige in the middle of those two extremes.
So I've been saying, this is part of the Maurice Ted DiBiase partnership, and they just have no sexual chemistry.
No.
There's no spark between them. And then, I brought this up before, when Maurice is paired with Miz, it's oh my God, I think they're having sex with their eyes. And you sort of need that. You need the actual organic connection. It's when you do screen tests for Superman and Lois to make sure they connect together on screen. They didn't obviously do that with Ted and Maurice because they could have seen that they have no spark from a mile away. But then there's this match. It's Ted DiBiase versus Daniel Bryan. And Daniel Bryan, you would say, he can get a spark with anyone. He's one of the best wrestlers ever. He can wrestle a broom and make it exciting. But this is a mostly boring match.
Yeah.
And it's not because of Bryan. And then it made me think, wait a second. Has Ted just not got a spark with anyone?
Yeah. He's just this little vacuum.
He didn't have a spark with the A-Team.
That's true. He was in there with actual actors and was getting nothing. And he's surrounded by Roddy Piper and Dusty Rhodes, and it's getting nothing out of it.
Yeah. So that this, I don't know how they. Obviously, he's got a good physique, and he's the son of the $1 Million Man. But I could have told you this guy doesn't have the intangible it.
No. But he
from
was
day one.
But he was the guy. He was the one who was handpicked for Legacy
over
Cody Rhodes and Samu to be like, you're going to be the
yeah.
guy that's going to lead this company to the next generation. We're going to give you all the movies because you, unlike this dork over here, doesn't have a lisp. So we can put you out there and do lovely big promo segments. And it's mad in this because it's like all the it's a Daniel Bryan match in 2010, so none of the commentary is actually about the match. It's just the infighting between Stryker, who is trying to put over Daniel Bryan as a wrestler, and Michael Cole, who's trying to bury Daniel Bryan as being bland, when he's in the ring with Ted DiBiase, who is the blandest of bland.
Yeah, and we've also heard... I don't get Cole's arc, because we have done shows where he buries Bryan, but then Bryan earns the respect of Cole throughout the match. I've heard that character arc play out for Cole.
But it's in every match.
But it resets every week.
Yeah. Straight, yeah, Cole's got that. He's got that Dory capability about him where he just forgets the previous things have happened. And also, Stryker then tries to like needle in at Cole as well because he's like, "Hey, did you hear that Daniel Bryan said it was a real honor that Jim Ross called one of his matches on Old School Raw? Not you."
Well, that's an important thing to put out because the Go Home episode of Raw was an old school Raw.
Yeah.
This was the first time they'd done this gimmick.
Yeah, the ratings bump ploy of just like, hey, do you remember all the old stars? They're back for 1 week. Please stick around for next week.
But it's a really good idea. It's got a great look about it. They wouldn't do it as frequently as I thought they would.
Yeah, they did like once a year, yeah.
Yeah, but mostly once every 2 years. Like it didn't seem to have a consistent spot. Well, I feel like the big anniversary shows would also feel like old school episodes.
Oh, yeah, because they'd be like, Raw 25 where we had a couple of years back. Because they don't do old school Raw now, obviously.
But they wouldn't do an old school Raw. Everyone, they've got Saturday night's main event. It's old school Raw by disguise. So
Jesse Ventura can come out and be like, the rules of this cage match make no sense.
So we had that. And I guess that is the start, because that is the first time they do this trick. The nostalgia trick. It is the first time, really, in Vince's mind. The new stuff isn't as good, is it?
Yeah.
We should use the old stuff, the part-timer era.
Can't sell WrestleMania on the roster I've got, nor Monday Night Raw on the roster that I've got. So I need to bring back Roddy Piper and Bret Hart and just bring back in all the old-timers that people liked back in the day.
But that should be a sign, well, to anyone with any sort of self-awareness, that maybe it's you that's out of touch. And you should replace yourself with a new head booker or a new vision.
Yeah.
But they didn't.
The argument continues as Stryker is trying to put over how hard Bryan Danielson has worked to get here. And Cole says, oh no, his career was handed to him by The Miz.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And King then brings up, and again, I actually would have remembered this from the time, but it strikes me now rewatching it. King's like, well, Daniel Bryan was in the Nexus. And I'm like, shh, don't talk about that.
That's complicated.
That's complicated because it brings up the question, why isn't Daniel Bryan doing anything about the Nexus? He actually helped beat the Nexus at SummerSlam.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just moved on. He's the Roman Reigns in the Shield breakup. It's just 1 week later, he's just poisoning Stephanie McMahon's coffee so she can throw up on Vicky Guerrero.
People just say things. People just say things on this episode of Survivor Series.
Yep. Bryan makes his comeback and he does a dive where he lands badly on one of his arms, but it's all a work. He's just really good at selling. We get the $1 Million Dream, which, he's doing the $1 Million Dream. And Michael Cole's like, Cobra Clutch. You moron. And then Bryan does the Bret Hart reversal spot. And then he manages to get in the label lock and wins. He hits a wicked back suplex off the top rope as well.
Which he countered because DiBiase was going to do something off the top rope. And annoyingly, Cole said, great counter by Daniel Bryan. Pick a lane.
Well, then Cole says, somehow he keeps winning. I don't get it.
So that dive outside is a good point because the first 5 minutes is mostly Ted DiBiase working over Bryan. It's enormously boring. And then Bryan does the dive outside. And not only is he doing offense there. He also works himself over with the selling of the arm.
Yeah.
And that's when the match sort of becomes a bit more alive. And you're like, this is Daniel Bryan wrestling a broom. He is both doing the offense and to the opponent,
and his own
and
offense.
his own
Yeah.
defense.
Yeah, it's incredible. And then The Miz attacks Daniel Bryan after the match with his Money in the Bank briefcase. Did you know as well, like the lights kept shutting on and off during
Yes,
this?
that happens just before the bell rings and twice during the Miz bit. And I just assumed, it's a setup for an angle later.
No.
But nothing ever happens.
No, it was just lights falters in the building.
But it didn't look like a genuine accident. It was someone turning them down and turning them back up again.
Yeah, it's just someone with the generator just needs to just crank it a little bit.
They did this for the first All In very smartly, where there were a few blackout bits, and they were like, "Oh, sorry, this is our first time streaming."
Yeah,
and then that was the red herring to pay off
when Jericho shows up. Yeah.
So I just thought something was going to come of that.
My favorite story about that Jericho thing, though, is that Penta obviously didn't know they were going to do this, so didn't have any other gear to give Jericho, so to dress up as Penta. He only had one other version of his gear, and it was white. So they had to go down to a store to buy black paint to paint over the gear. It's amazing. Anyway, Miz cuts a promo, does some local sports team heat, says the Nexus are overrated and mediocre. He compares Wade to LeBron James, some more sports stuff. He's tired of carrying this briefcase, and it's time to cash this thing in.
Tonight?
Maybe. I can tell you that there is zero follow-up to the Miz attacking Bryan on the stage. Because obviously he wins the world title the next night instead. Bryan instead will face Ted DiBiase in the first round of the King of the Ring tournament and then lose to Del Rio. He then tags with Brie Bella, oddly, to beat Ted DiBiase and Maurice. He then tags with Kofi Kingston to beat Dolphin's Head, and then he's on a dark match for TLC where he beats Ted DiBiase again. So that is the next feud. That's the next 4 weeks for Daniel Bryan. It is beating Ted DiBiase again and again and again and again.
That's a shame because there's an inbuilt Miz, just a one-off Raw match. Miz versus Daniel Bryan.
Yeah.
US champion versus WWE champion.
I've got 2 victories over you. Of the match, this is where we come into our Striker commentary reporting here. Striker didn't have a lot of dumb things to say on this show. This is from Dave Meltzer. Although reports were that both of his co-announcers were mad at him again. And apparently Michael Cole at one point between matches took off his headset and gave him a tongue lashing.
A tongue lashing?
Yeah. Very good start to the show. 3.5 stars.
Oh, I wonder what annoyed Cole so much. Sometimes
he's Matt Striker.
Well, sometimes when you with coworkers, they annoy you a lot, and then even though they're being less annoying, it feels like it's the same level of like, oh God's sake! You know?
I can almost tell you exactly the moment it is. I think it's when they start arguing about that baseball player. Brian Alvarez would say, match was good. It was hilarious listening to Cole talk about what a nerd Daniel Bryan is, and how boring he is. Meanwhile, he's in the ring with Ted DiBiase, a man with whom has 1,000 times less charisma. 3.5 stars.
That was the best match voted for.
Best match.
3.5 stars.
I think it was the 5-on-5 match, personally. A recap from Old School Raw, where Sheamus attacked Santino and Kozlov, who'd just become the number 1 contenders to the tag team titles, and then John Morrison made the save, and then he told Arn Anderson and Gerald Briscoe that Sheamus is a bully, and then Sheamus attacked him. And Sheamus then does a promo with Josh, where he says, he's not a bully, this isn't primary school, I'm going to go beat up that nerd.
Yeah, because John Morrison, he's edgy now. He's aggressive. That's the thing they're trying to get over. They do it on commentary as well. Oh, that Morrison's getting more aggressive. And throughout the match, he does punches. Not just contrived parkour. He does punches as well.
That does bring us to our next match, which is Sheamus versus John Morrison. And right off the bat, Morrison does that big parkour dive that you were talking about earlier. Crowd were quite dead for this match, particularly as Sheamus just works over Morrison. At one point, Sheamus starts pounding on Morrison's chest, and King, trying to make a good joke, says like, he's got a chest like a pirate. It's a sunken chest.
I like it. I like it.
More clubbing blows by Sheamus. Morrison then fights him off. He does a crossbody, but Sheamus catches him and hits a power slam. Morrison rolls away out of the kick out. Double down as Morrison avoids a bro kick and hits an enziguri. Morrison makes a comeback. Sheamus leapfrogs him and he lands on the middle rope, but Sheamus trips the legs. One-legged Alabama slam for a 2 count, which was a brutal near fall. Into the single leg crab. It is the best submission move. Morrison has a flurry of offense, hits a disaster kick by avoiding a bro kick, and out of nowhere gets the win.
Yeah, he gets out of an Irish cross and hits a running knee to win.
Yeah, it's like a disaster kick style thing.
Yeah. But it was interesting how Daniel Bryan would take the knee as a finisher. And
Well, that was his Ring of Honor.
Morrison wouldn't keep it. You know, this is rather than the Starship Pain. And I feel like this is a bad direction for John Morrison. John Morrison's a tricky one because he looks like he has all the charisma in the world. But then you actually watch him, you're like, what? But it's not. But where is it though?
It doesn't translate to. It's the Karrion Kross thing, right? Amazing in these promos, amazing during the entrance, and the second the bell rings, like, where's it gone?
But where is Morrison's charisma? I guess it's in the high flying moves because he's not a really good interview. It's
in the entrance.
He's got the slow mo entrance, but that looks hokey. I think it's a pretty lame gimmick.
What, that he looks a bit like Jim Morrison?
Jim Morrison, and you get a bit of a slow mo entrance.
Who was last relevant in Wayne's World 2.
Yeah. But I guess they're like, oh, how do we make him better? Because we know he's good, like athletically. So let's take away the athleticism. Mm-hmm. Let's get rid of Starship Pain.
Well,
and he's going to be doing running knees. He's going to be more aggressive with his fists. And you're like, but that was the only thing that was connecting.
But I think the bigger problem for me is this match is the very typical WWE. You just get worked over for 95% of the match and then you win. Mm-hmm. And that's all it is. It's just Sheamus beating him up and beating him up and beating him up to a dead crowd. And then Morrison just wins. So who really gets over at the end of this?
Yeah. Neither guy actually hits their finisher. There's no bro kick. There's no Starship Pain. It was a feud that was set up 5 days previously on Old School Raw. This shouldn't be on pay-per-view.
Dave Meltzer would say, another good match.
For the time. We do have to remember 2010
this
is
is
a very different one.
Very different time. They pushed on commentary the idea this was the Bully getting his 3.25 stars. And Brian Alvarez would say, surprising finish, but good to see someone get put over clean in a competitive match.
Yeah, this is the standards at the time. This was seen as a competitive match. But yeah, I guess Sheamus was one of those guys. But were they even protecting him? Because he never beat any top guys clean.
Not when he was champion, no. And actually, he doesn't even give a star rating for it, does Brian Alvarez. I'm assuming you watched this on Netflix?
No, I downloaded the version you had, which means I've seen Knucklehead on DVD.
It is. It's got bloopers.
25 minutes of outtakes and exclusives.
25 minutes.
How long's that actual film?
It's like a third of its runtime, probably.
Knucklehead.
I bet you it's something like 85 minutes. 86, I'm going to say.
Knucklehead, 1 hour 40.
Whoa!
Yeah, but all the post-creds. So I think that'll probably end 1 hour 20.
But that's like, 100 minutes?
100 minutes is a normal length.
For a comedy starring The Big Show?
Yeah, I wouldn't want it any shorter. Would you?
Yeah, 86 minutes is what you want for that.
No, I think 2.5 hours minimum.
I'd say 86 minutes with credits.
I wish it was directed by Judd Apatow during this era, because then everyone would just riff and the scenes would go on.
120.
Yeah.
Looking at 120 minutes, then credits.
Plus those 25 minutes. So I do get my sort of hour, 2 hour plus. Yeah. Total package there.
So I think I might have talked about this on Patreon. I can't remember if we did talk about it on the public episode, but there has been certainly a cry for on Patreon to us to do Drunkleheads.
Drunklehead. Yeah, well, I'm for it. We have no time.
We've got to do it in August.
We
might have to kick that can into September.
This could be a Christmas special. Is it a Christmas movie? Well, make it one.
Yep. Cena is backstage in his own gear because this gimmick is not getting over. And then R-Truth walks in. Mm-hmm. He says, look, I know that none of this has been my business, but, it seems like, all right, what's up?
A bit of a dick about it, isn't he?
Yeah, well, he's got a lot on his mind at the moment. He's got a lot on his plate. He doesn't need R-Truth walking up, throwing in his 2 pennies. Bret Hart.
Trying to help.
And Bret Hart and Roddy Piper already given him they've already given him a tongue lashing. So Truth has got a solution. Nexus is banned from ringside. But I'm not. So what I could do, well, wouldn't it be weird if something accidentally happened to Randy Orton? Accidents happen all the time in wrestling. Just don't know what these is. And then, hey, before you know it, you can count the 3, you can keep your job, guilt-free, because you didn't do it. R-Truth did it. And Cena fires up and said, I wouldn't be able to look myself in the mirror. I would be a joke. I'm going to call this match down the middle, and I will be out there calling this match down the middle.
He does it in quite a nasty way. So we did Justice League recently on Cutscene, and there's a bit at the end when Superman does the to the Flash. Well, we'll have to kick you off the team. I'm just kidding. And he comes off as psychotic. I think it's that, but it's reverse. Cena starts with, "Oh, that's a great idea, R-Truth, because this, and no, R-Truth." I'm like, the dude, yeah, he is saying, let's cheat and screw over Randy, who's a babyface. But I don't think this is a nice... I don't know. Let's watch.
Also, just before we press play, just want to point out here, not only is John Cena in all of his own gear not putting over this Nexus angle, he's also surrounded by his own gear not putting over this Nexus angle.
At least just wear a referee shirt at this point.
4. What do you got?
Nexus is banned from ringside for the championship match, right?
I know.
I'm not. Just remember that. I'm not.
So?
The camera just keeps moving in and out as well.
By pinfall or submission.
Just keep the camera still.
People might turn over.
And something accidentally happened to Randy Orton. Accidents happen.
They do.
You get to keep your job. You get to 1, 2, 3, and it's guilt-free.
Accident. Like you come down by accident. Randy loses, Wade wins. I'm good. I'm still employed. I walk away. I wake up tomorrow and I can't even look at myself in the mirror.
Whoa.
I can't even look at myself in the mirror. I would be a joke.
I'm not surprised R-Truth turned heel on you in 5 months' time, Cena. You're a prick. You're not even a good baby face.
But yeah. So Truth then says that he goes, John says, I'm going to call this down the middle. And Truth says, I'll believe it when I see it.
Otherwise, I can't respect myself. Again, it would work better if he honored a single stipulation. Like, imagine if he had behaved well for the Nexus during this time. You're like, well, he is trying to do the stipulation things.
Again, if you haven't seen our bragging rights review, one of the bits of build for bragging rights was the Nexus took on a tag team of Randy Orton and John Cena, who was supposed to be part of the Nexus. And they won, because of course they won. They are not telling this story at all. But up next, for the Intercontinental Championship, the champion Dolph Ziggler defends against the winner of NXT Season 2, Low Key, here in WWE as Kaval.
Big smiling Kaval.
Because that's what you want from Low Key, isn't it? You're bringing in Low Key, who I think thinks wrestling is real. And you just, do you know what you need to go out there? Smile, you little indie dork.
Yeah, he has been given the direction to smile. Oh, we feel like you're a bit intimidating. And you've got like the deepest voice we've ever heard. It doesn't look like it should come out of... Oh, no! Because he's remembering. He's trying to be serious. I'm Loki. I'm Loki, the guy who kicks people. But no, I'm in WWE now. Yes, smile.
Smiling.
Oh, but I'm Loki again.
The war between Loki and Kaval just can't come through. Yeah, Loki genuinely does believe that wrestling is real. A very, very serious man. And that's actually one of the brilliances of having him in TNA as part of the Paparazzi Productions, was that everyone was doing comedy and Caval not doing comedy made him seem really funny.
Yeah, and Kevin Nash was like, yeah, okay, yeah, cool. Yeah. You don't have to do that bit.
Because everyone's scared of him.
Low key, now we're saying it. I guess like low key, the Norse god of mischief. I've never looked at Loki as
he's not
mischievous.
mischievous.
But that low key, let's keep things low key.
Yeah.
Is it a good name?
Well, it's the name I know him best as, I suppose, because obviously he's Caval here, and then he goes back to TNA as Senshi.
Yeah.
Which I don't know. Did he go back to TNA? Is he Senshi before he goes to
That rings a
WWE?
bell.
I feel like Senshi might be like 2008. I think it might be in uni during that. Then he goes to WWE as Caval. Then I might go back as Senshi again. But I hate the name Senshi.
Caval might actually be the best name when you think about it.
No, low key is the best name.
Let's keep things low key.
Let's keep things low key.
Kick you in the face.
I'm going to kick you in the face. So Caval beat Dolph Ziggler on SmackDown they say that he beat him on SmackDown to earn this shot. And then he gets on the mic and be like, I actually get a title shot because I won NXT. So he didn't even need to beat Dolph to get this. He already had. It's Cody Rhodes and SummerSlam 2025.
And Michael Cole is the commentator for NXT. So he should know these things.
Yeah, but also Cole is there to bury NXT and people like Caval and all of these indie darlings because he's like, he only won because of internet dorks and message boards. Welcome to the big leagues. Yeah, and then, it's like, he only won because of the internet crowd. He's an internet darling. He's just a nerd like all the rest of them.
The disdain in his voice when he says internet darling is really off-putting. Not even, obviously he's aiming this stuff at us.
Yeah, he's doing it to rile us up.
He's getting heat from us. But I just think in general, this is an off-putting thing to normal people if they heard him talk this way. Especially because Caval is really portrayed as the cool new babyface. And Stryker is putting over how Caval is dedicating this match to his family. See, Stryker's a face here, that this seems like a face thing. And Michael Cole starts screaming over him, saying nobody cares about Caval's family.
Yeah. Stryker at one point refers to him as the World Warrior.
Yes.
Which was like one of his internet, his indie gimmicks. And Michael Cole laughs and said, that's one of the stupidest things I've ever heard. I just don't see the point in this. Of bringing these guys in. Like, if you don't want to bring in indie darlings, don't fucking hire them.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't want to put them over, don't hire them then.
Oh, you're missing the point. How can we bury them?
There it is.
If they're not in the company.
Exactly. Like, if you just want to push Mason Ryan because he's a big dude, then just push Mason Ryan. You don't need to bring Caval in and just have Michael Cole and really Vince McMahon rag on him on commentary, making Matt Striker look like a doofus as well because he's like, no, I like this guy. You could just not do that and they can just go and work in TNA.
Maybe WWE did genuinely want to push all these new indie guys, but Matt Striker was so annoying.
It's Striker's fault.
They turned on it, yeah.
When bearing in mind as well, actually, when he's talking about big leagues and stuff when it comes out, and it's sort of about it's Thanksgiving tradition, turkeys and that. Vicky Guerrero comes out and King immediately goes, speaking of turkeys. So Caval gets distracted by Vicky and Dolph drops him on the top rope and Cole thinks that Caval just got distracted by Vicky Guerrero's beauty. Because he's a heel. Commentators just argue. They don't really talk about the match much. Caval does this handspring kick, and Dolph kicks out of that. Dolph gets in the sleeper onto the second ropes. Have I missed one of the best bits of this?
Well, that handspring flying roundhouse thing.
Yeah.
That, like, the crowd suddenly go, oh, that was...
Because it's cool.
That was good. That's different from the 5 minutes of generic wrestling we've had so far. And I also think... it was an actual kick to Dolph Ziggler's face.
Of course it was. It's low key in the ring because he does his handspring. And you know what he does? He just kicks him in the face.
Yeah.
It's not a work. It's not. He doesn't pull it. He just boots him straight in the face.
I'm just going to give you a low key kick in the face. Oh, is that just like a, it's not going to really touch me? Yeah. It's a low key boot in the face.
Let's see if I can try and find it.
But Dolph is busted open after that. You can't really see it until the end.
Yeah.
But he has a bleeding nose.
Yeah.
So
I wrote my notes here, like Dolph is bleeding, presumably from when Loki just kicked him right in the face.
Yeah.
Here it is. I've got it here.
There's a handspring, yeah.
Yeah, here it is.
When I
Does he stop? Like he stops just before it, because it's not like a fluid handspring. He stops, sizes it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I need to kick you.
I think, is it because Dolph's not actually in the corner?
Oh yeah, maybe he thought Dolph would be resting on the ropes. Yeah.
just absolutely. One last time here.
Oh. It certainly gets the crowd awake.
Yeah, and the commentary team as well, who previously have not been commentating on this match, being like, "Whoa!" He just booted him right in the face.
Look, Lawler, after that point, by the way, so Cavall does a big spinning dive outside, but he lands on his feet. He kicks out of a Faymaster. This is just a minute after that spot, and Lawler goes, "This is a great match." It sounds like Lawler has been shook out of his malaise, and he's genuinely impressed.
But we keep burying Michael Cole, but maybe he's doing all of this internet darling stuff, but maybe he's actually good at calling wrestling moves, like he was in that first match we talked about. And Cavall blocks the sleeper from being fully locked in, and Michael Cole says, "Sleeper hold locked in." Moron. They exchange some 2 counts. Dolph rolls through, grabs a handful of ties, and he gets the win, bleeding from the nose, presumably from when he was kicked in the face.
Yes. Yeah, like a decent match, but I remember watching this at the time, because I quit WWE after SummerSlam. And I was really excited to see Cavall, not because I was a huge fan of Loki. I never really got on board with Loki. If I'm honest.
He booted people in the face.
Yeah, but I like character and promo stuff as much as the wrestling. And I just never...
all right, Vince.
I know, but I'm the worst. And I just never got into his character, I guess.
He's the World Warrior.
What does that mean?
Beats people up. For real, I think.
Yeah, but where's the comedy? Where's the comedy promo bits?
He was in Triple X with Christopher Daniels and the other lad, Edith Skipper.
So he... but it was the idea of Loki that I really liked.
Yeah, that's what I like.
And I remember watching this, like, oh, okay, I can't wait to see what they do with now he's on the big leagues. And this, while a good second half of the match, particularly from the Roundhouse, it's nowhere near full Loki. It's like 20%. So it's not standout enough to be impressive.
Yeah.
And he's not got the kind of charisma that works with the audience like Daniel Bryan had. So I think you can see in this debut match on the main, not debut, but pay-per-view debut, I guess, he was never going to make it in WWE.
No, and
he won season 3 of NXT, season 2.
He's not here for much longer after this, really. And I guess there's a group of guys, and I would say it's only really Danielson that's managed to get out of this. I'm going to use Danielson as an example here because there are other guys like Tyler Black, Seth Rollins is another one of them. But there are some guys who were just like amazing on the indies, then went to WWE and didn't feel as special as they did when they were in Ring of Honor or New Japan or TNA, whenever it was. And it's like, oh man, it's just not like they've just lost a step. They're not like they were in the mid 2000s. They're older now. So it's just like, that's what it is. It's just age has got the better of them. They got to WWE too late. But then they leave WWE and go back to TNA, Ring of Honor, or at AEW or New Japan, and they're awesome again. And you're like, oh no, it's just WWE have got a way of structuring matches that doesn't suit everyone. But someone like Danielson, because he's the best wrestler on the planet, can work within that to be like, oh, I get what I need to do here.
Samoa Joe's a good example of the previous bit. But I always thought Austin Aries was on the cusp of making it work in WWE.
Like nearly figured it out.
Yeah, but for whatever, I think probably personnel. He rubs people up the wrong way, it seems.
Yeah,
they probably got rid of him.
Like Loki, really. Also someone that rubs people up the wrong way, usually with his feet, and them being their faces. But like Danielson, we read interviews with him. He said he went to WWE and realized like, oh, it's not wrestling. I'm not here to do pro wrestling anymore. I'm here to do this. And so he figured that out, adjusted everything that he knew about wrestling into what WWE is, and became the best wrestler on the planet for WWE. Then went back to the Indies, went back to AEW. And was like, and now I can just do all the stuff I was doing in Ring of Honor, but actually apply some of the stuff I learned from WWE. I think Seth Rollins is another guy who got it, went there and was like, I'm not doing pro wrestling anymore. I'm doing this. but still thinks it's pro wrestling.
I don't think he was ever fully one of the indie darlings, though.
No, I suppose not. I mean,
he wasn't on that
like,
level. He
no,
was a
he was a big guy. It was like one of the top stars in Ring of Honor for a bit, though.
for a bit,
Yeah.
But like in the way that a Matt Taven was. I don't think anyone looks
Yeah.
at that era of Ring of Honor and goes, Tyler Black was a standout person. It's more of an interesting thing that's now Seth Rollins.
Yes.
It's not a Kevin Steen from that era. It's not a Roddy Strong or someone like that. Seth Rollins, very talented. I think the reason he was able to succeed in WWE is because he was a hunter project.
Could be, yeah. And I was going to say Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, I think, are also people who have taken everything they could do in Ring of Honor and have applied it to WWE and haven't had to take anything away from what made them great in their Ring of Honor days.
It's like they forced WWE to fit their style.
Yeah,
And
that's it, right? Yeah.
Whereas I feel like Seth Rollins, apart from taking dive, mostly fit in with the WWE style.
Whereas people like Joe and Nakamura is another one of just like, for some reason, it's just not like gelled together. Dave would say, Caval dedicated the match to the Rough House Rider platoon and then he lost. Good match, but the crowd wasn't into it. 3.25 stars. And Brian Alvarez would say, they had a good match. Heat wasn't great, but it wasn't really great for anything else on the show either. They botched the spot and Ziggler was nearly killed. I think Ziggler thought they were supposed to be doing a reversal, but that presumably wasn't the spot because Caval immediately went into a cartwheel jumping kick. Well, he connected. And by connected, I mean he kicked him so hard in the face, I cannot believe Dolph wasn't knocked completely unconscious. I mean, that was ridiculously brutal. He not only wasn't knocked out, but he was back on his feet, continuing the match a few moments later. 3.5 stars.
Props to Ziggler there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hail to the Villain is the band providing the theme Runaway for Survivor Series, and we cut backstage to Josh Matthews with Jack Swagger, who is part of Team Del Rio. But he's like, hey, I'm the only one on this team who's a former world champion. Shouldn't I be the leader here? Also, we're not in America. We're in Little Cuba.
Because this is Miami.
Yes. Cody Rhodes then walks in and makes jokes about Swagger's naff shoes, I think.
He's talking about how they went to the club last night and you turned up with your broke shoes and Jack said, they're my grandfather's. They're vintage. Swagger's comedic delivery here is not bad.
Yeah.
What happened to the guy?
Well, he found a hat eventually.
Oh, yeah.
And then Del Rio walks in and said, look, this is all boring. We're not here to talk about your shoes or whether you should be the leader. We're here to destroy Rey Mysterio. I want to see the kids cry. And if you can do that, I'll buy everyone the beers. And Cody, everyone leaves. And then Cody's like, I may not like him, but he's good.
Yeah, I hate to admit it, but he's good. It's a good way to get over Del Rio as this very new character in WWE.
Mm-hmm.
We saw his debut just 2 months beforehand with those initial vignettes at SummerSlam.
No, it was after.
It was Night of Champions.
Yeah, and then he had the promo, I think, at Night of Champions.
But now, he's really being pushed to the top of SmackDown as a top act, and this is a great way to do it. By the way, just on the official song, I do always like to see what happened to that band or what they're like. Hail the Villain was a Canadian hard rock band from Ontario who released one studio album in 2010 before going on indefinite hiatus, never to be heard from again.
They were just one of those many butt rock genre bands. Apparently, that's actually the next genre of music that's set to make a big comeback.
Butt rock.
Butt rock, yeah. So like new metal has had its resurgence. I don't want to say that I'm always ahead of trends, but I saw that new metal was going to be making a comeback before new metal officially made its big comeback, and a lot of new metal bands sort of sprung up.
Newer metal,
and bands like Limp Bizkit got like a second lease on life. I thought I could see the writing on the wall that butt rock was next. And I was like, I guarantee you, like Stained and Puddle of Mud are going to get some like big sort of comeback stuff. And that apparently is the next thing. It's going to be like Nickelback, Stained. They're set to make their big comebacks next.
Oh wow! I mean, we're recording this the week after South Park became relevant again.
Yeah, right.
Happy Gilmore 2 was released at the weekend. It's good. 90s, early noughties. We're back, baby.
As I say, it's the mid 2000s now. So like 2010 has come towards the end of the butt rock period. I was thinking like Nickelback are probably the only ones who are still holding on. But I was texting someone about. I messaged this to you when we recorded Monday Night War as well. But like, it's been a while by Stained. I know that song like the back of my hand, but I don't think I've ever actually heard it. I just know it's been a while. Same with Outside. Like, I know so much of Outside, but the only thing I really know about it is Fred Durst feeling heat from lighters. Because my friends never had the CDs. I never had the CDs. And if it came on MTV2 or Kerrang, skip. But you tune in halfway through, man, find what's a good song is going to be on. But I know those songs so well. And I think it's like Nickelback. I know a lot of Nickelback songs. I know Photograph by Nickelback, but I've never heard Photograph by Nickelback.
But you've seen the meme shot from the
Look
photo.
at this photograph! Like, I know that, but I've never heard that song. And yeah, I think that those are going to be the next big ones and I think people are already starting to reevaluate Nickelback. We've talked about this on the show before. People are already starting to be like, why are we so mean to Nickelback for all those years?
Oh, because they're crap.
Well,
They're not crap. They're annoying.
Well,
and they're generic.
I guarantee you, man,
They're John Cena.
You're going to be hearing a lot more of Nickelback. You're going to be hearing a lot more of "Never made it as a wise man, couldn't cut it as a poor man stealing."
Well, that's a banging song.
I know that song.
And Rockstar.
My like high school band covered that song, but we covered it when it first came out. Like it was still on the radio when we covered it and played it for our entire year because our head of year was like, "Oh wow, it's so cool that you've made a band. You should perform in front of the year." And we did it at assembly, played that and one of our own songs that we'd written.
Smuggle it in.
Yeah, we did, and went down well. But people really loved us playing "How You Remind Me."
Yeah, because they know the song.
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah. And that brings us to, I generally do think is the match of the night. It's the one I had the most fun with. It is the traditional Survivor Series 5-on-5 match as The Big Show and Chris Masters and Kofi Kingston and MVP and Rey Mysterio take on Cody Rhodes, Jack Swagger, Drew McIntyre, Tyler Rex, and Alberto Del Rio.
Yeah. And I was all ready to be like, okay, here's the standard match. Just like we got at bragging rights when it was Team SmackDown versus Team Raw, which wasn't half bad either. And then it slowly got me more and more into this match.
Yeah.
The one thing I will disagree with is Del Rio never comes back. But
Yes.
we'll get into that when we go through it.
I would also say that I think that it barely is a 5-on-5 elimination match because you do have to have Tyler Rex and Chris Masters on either side. Really, it's a 4-on-4 match, and it is hilarious that Chris Masters nor Tyler Rex are the first people to be eliminated.
Yes, well, it's just a bit of admin, isn't it? Get those out first.
Well, no, but they're not, though. Like, if I was a betting man, I would have said, "Oh, Chris Masters."
Oh, I see.
Like, certainly on the babyface side, Chris Masters is out first.
No, of course, because it's MVP.
Yeah.
Who was the most over guy in the whole building.
Because it was in his hometown.
Yeah.
So immediately he's out first.
Well, give the heat.
Give
the heat to the
brother.
heels, right?
But this is actually the return of Chris Masters. He came back, I think, in 2009. Had not been featured a lot, but also he's a bit smaller than what he was previously because, not allowed to do certain things anymore.
Yeah, shrink in the wash sometimes, don't you?
And it felt like he was brought back just so they could make fun of the fact he no longer looks like he did in 2006.
WWE bringing someone back just to bury them?
Yeah.
No,
surely not. But yeah, Cody's in. Also, can I, if I may, right?
I'm
just going to sort of point out what I think is actually a bit naff here, of what is actually otherwise quite a good gimmick. Cody Rhodes' entrance is baffling, right?
Walk me through it.
So, Cody Rhodes, here he is, little dashing Cody Rhodes, and he comes out here. Great music, obviously. Look at him. What a handsome guy. His whole gimmick is he's handsome and he's obsessed with himself. So much so that he's got a mirror on his little LCD screen, right? So he's going to go up and look at that mirror. But then next to that mirror is the camera reflection of what the mirror is seeing.
Yes.
But Cody is not looking at the camera. He is looking at the mirror that's got nothing on it.
Well, but he'll be covering the mirror to the rest of the audience.
But then surely he should still be looking over this way because he can't. The whole point is he wants to look at himself and how good he looks, but he can't look at himself because that's got nothing on it. But just to the right of him is a massive picture of himself.
You are right. It's not something I even weirdly picked up on. I've written, I really do like Cody's mirror screen gimmick. But you're right. That isn't how mirrors work. That's how periscopes work. And also, I mean, now this is 15 years ago, but we've all lived through the Zoom pandemic.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to not look at yourself, even if yourself is slightly to the right and in a little box.
Mhm.
How is he not looking at the large
Yeah.
Cody? Well, I suppose the technology just wasn't there.
But it clearly is there because we can see it.
No, it clearly isn't because I can't. If they could do it, they would have done it. Otherwise, why?
I'm not, I'm not here to just like rag on it or anything. I'm not saying it's the worst thing the WWE are doing right now, but I do think that fundamentally it doesn't make any sense.
This is annoying. This is like a thing that I like, just like Mizdow, where you point out the fact that no, that doesn't make any sense, quite obviously, and now you've ruined this thing for me.
When Del Rio comes out, Stryker says, Del Rio is here to make kids cry. And Michael Cole says, good for him. And Cole says that this match has made stars in the past. Like the Survivor Series match always makes stars. Most notably, The Rock, Randy Orton, and The Miz. So over 20 years, this match type has made 3 guys.
The Miz?
Well, he won last year.
Oh, so really just 2 guys and recency bias. It's good, though, to have 10 guys out there in a array of different spots on the card. And MVP comes out. Obviously, he's a mid-carder, but huge pop from his hometown crowd, Miami, Florida. But whatever that end of the scale is, which I would say is very hot, Tyler Rex has the other end. There is no noise for Tyler Rex.
Yeah. It's and he's featured quite heavily. He survives way longer into this match than you'd think.
Yeah, and it's not like he gets, I'm pretty sure he doesn't get like eliminated like you would normally eliminate someone. They protect him a lot in the elimination.
Yeah. But before we get to that, though, this is where we get, and that's where I think you have Cole taking off his headset and berating, giving Stryker a little tongue lashing. Because this is where you get Stryker just makes an offhanded comment comparing one of the wrestlers to a baseball player that I'm going to presume is from a baseball team that he supports. And Michael Cole, who's clearly a big baseball fan, gets very angry about this to the point that Jerry the King Lawler has to be like, guys, can we talk about the wrestling?
Have you got the clip?
Taking control of his team, explaining to them that he's in charge, but he felt better with the matchup with Cody and Ray to start things off. So Ray is like Ricky Henderson, almost a spark plug igniting. Are you going to talk about anything that current Ricky Henderson was a star 20 years ago? Arguably the greatest baseball player of all time. Whereas Ray Mysterio is arguably the greatest high flyer. I'm not even going to get in debate about Ricky Henderson being the greatest baseball player of all time. He stole bases. He stole bases. Hit leadoff home runs, ignited teams. But either way, Rey Mysterio is setting the pace for his team and showing the bravery that Team Mysterio will exhibit. I'm begging you guys to talk a little bit about
Jerry's like, I'm begging you. Can we just talk about Survivor Series?
Of all the things to break Michael Cole.
Yeah. Who'd have thought that would really get Cole angry?
Because I don't even think that's heel Michael Cole.
No.
That's Michael Cole just being like, no, Ricky Henderson. What?
Are you mad?
I've never heard of Ricky Henderson.
He stole bases.
Yeah.
But then all the bases belong to him.
Numbers don't lie.
Look at the facts.
Look at the
dork.
records. And then Michael Cole would say, talk about something current. I thought he was going to say, he was like a 50s or a Babe Ruth, early 30s kind of baseball player. No, 20 years ago. This company that only can reference the Three Stooges from Vince McMahon's childhood.
We had a pay-per-view called Great Balls of Fire because Vince liked that song when he was a child. But also, I think it's actually, I'm going to defend Matt Stryker here. He is making quite a good comparison piece. This guy was considered this of baseball. Ray is considered this of high flying. Ergo, the two are together. I'm trying to use cultural references to explain why I think this is going to help Team Mysterio move forward. And they'd be like, you idiot, talk about the wrestling. I was like, he's trying, but you're baiting him into talking more about Ricky Henderson and then having a go at him for not talking about the wrestling when you're the guys who are taking this off track.
When I search Ricky Henderson, it comes up with an Australian rules footballer. Oh no, here we go. American baseball athlete. Was there he was called the Man of Steel. because he would steal bases.
All the bases.
He's widely regarded as baseball's greatest leadoff hitter and base runner. He holds the MLB records for career stolen bases, runs, unintentional walks, and leadoff home runs.
Is stealing a base bad?
Oh God, I used to watch a lot of baseball for work. I can't remember. No, I think it's a good thing.
Yeah. So why is Cole angry about it then? Because the way he's been like, you just stole bases, like that makes it like a bad thing.
Yeah.
But I think it's a legit thing in baseball.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I think it's more of a case of Matt Stryker has been annoying Michael Cole for months, and for whatever reason, it might not be the heaviest straw, but it was the last one.
Crowd really started chanting, even though he's not in the match, really started chanting for the Big Show. It must be all the Knucklehead fans in the crowd.
Where my Knuckleheads at?
MVP tags in and they start working over ADR, Alberto Del Rio, that is.
Not
Justice
process
League.
of putting in audio in post.
And then they start talking about how King was once tagging with Minis at Survivor Series, and he just can't remember all of the names. He's like, oh yeah, there was, I think one of them was called Stinky or something. Either way, we beat Doink the Clown. Masters tags in, and Masters tags back into MVP. And I've written here, he runs wild. I get the feeling he'll be out first. Yep, there it is. Drew suplexes him, and ADR holds down the foot, and Chris Masters lasted longer in this match than MVP, the hometown boy.
Look, I don't agree with this move, but to play devil's advocate, Del Rio is the one holding the boot down. So, in theory, the hometown crowd should hate Del Rio. WWE's main thing in this match, for the first half at least, is to get Del Rio over as this horrible heel. No one likes him.
Right. I don't completely disagree with that. You don't have to do it first.
No, you do.
No, you don't, because Chris Masters goes out immediately next. Because Masters runs wild, so he's definitely going to be out next. He hits a jackhammer, tries for the Master Lock. Del Rio taps him out with the armbar. So you could have had Masters go out first, then had some babyface fire, or actually work over MVP and get the crowd, or someone else getting worked over and wanted to see the MVP hot tag come in.
Yeah.
But like you do this, and it can actually it doesn't get heat. It kills the crowd off for a little bit.
Because you could actually have MVP last to the final three, and then Del Rio takes one of them out. But weirdly, they write Del Rio out halfway through. Yeah. So I guess they needed to get all these bits in first.
Yeah, in fact, as that comes up right next, because Big Show tags into a massive pop. Alberto Del Rio slaps him and pisses Show off, so he forces a tag to Drew, and then gets into Show's face being like, haha, what are you going to do now? I've tagged out. So Big Show punches him in the face, and it knocks Del Rio out, and he has to be woken back up with smelling salts, and then he gets carted to the back by officials.
I think this bit is fantastic. Like Del Rio first holding down the boot for MVP, and like it shows he's a good, effective captain because he quickly was involved in the first two eliminations. They're 5-3 up immediately because of what Del Rio's done. And then the cocky, smarmy heel getting in Big Show's face, what you going to do? And then the receipt. This is all great. Del Rio's selling of it. Roberto Rodriguez is selling of it. But when he goes back, that means he can come down later.
I was fully expecting him to come out for the end of the match.
And we never see him again.
No.
On Team Del Rio.
I was fully expecting him to come out at the end of the match and tap out Rey Mysterio.
Because that's a classic heel thing to do.
Yeah. Or just sneak up behind him, roll him up, handful of tights, and he wins for his team. Yeah, and he does all this like, I fooled you all. So Cody then gets slapped and he freaks out and he goes to Justin to hold his jacket because on the back of his jacket is a mirror. And unlike the one on his Titantron, he does look at this one.
I don't remember the mirror being on the jacket. Were there any other mirrors that we're missing? Actual mirrors?
Well, there's not one on the Big Show's fist because he punches Cody in the face and he's out. Heels then work over Show. Swagger tags in and gets the ankle lock. Show then tags in Ray to get out of the hold. And we get Rey Mysterio and Jack Swagger, who, I don't know if you remember this, was a World Heavyweight Championship match in this Series 1 that we've done.
Yes, I do. This is the point where it becomes very house show and thus very fun.
it becomes a party match.
Yeah.
It becomes, and I really enjoyed this. Kofi finally tags into the match. I think it's like the first time he's been in. And Tyler Rex tags in. Kofi does a wacky reverse kick out of the corner to eliminate Tyler Rex. So babyfaces are now up 3-2. Swagger catches the Trouble in Paradise and Kofi taps out. So now we're back to all even. McIntyre kicks at Show's leg, so he drops a Ray because he's trying to do that little like on the shoulder jump off thing. 619 by Ray. Splash from Show Soldiers to eliminate Drew McIntyre, to eliminate Swagger. Then it comes down to Drew versus Ray and Show. Chokeslam to Drew. Big Show and Ray win. And that's it.
Say hi to your wife for us.
I enjoyed that. The hot crowd in the second half particularly helped.
Yeah. And Cole screams right after. Another vintage Survivor Series match, which unfortunately made me hate it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's weird. So, the bookend decisions of getting MVP out first and then having... Because Del Rio could have come back and then eliminated MVP. That would have got so much more heat. But not having Del Rio come down to get the win, the sneaky win. Yeah, those are weird. But in terms of fun house show action, I had a really good time with this. And actually, it's my favourite thing on the show.
Mine too. And to put over Michael Cole's comment from earlier as well about how the Survivor Series really is a match type that can make stars, we have made 2 stars here who both got their starts in their career in the early 90s. We then get a promo for oh, sorry, I didn't do the reviews. Dave Meltzer said, good match, but a little anticlimactic finish. Surprising since Show and Mysterio combined to win the TV Battle Royal, then just did the same here. The negative is no new stars were allowed to look good, and there were no upsets giving new pushes in the eliminations, 3.25 stars. And Brian Alfred said, they considered this the finish, so I guess Alberto was counted out. A really fun match, 3.75 stars. Then we get the promo for TLC, which looks like a flash animation I would have made for Newground back in the day.
Yeah, it's just stick figures all doing a little fight with weapons and stuff.
In the mid-2000s, this was the height of animation.
Yeah, and early internet shtick, very funny. I didn't reference it earlier, but someone in the crowd has a sign right from the start that just reads, epic fail.
Oh, amazing.
And just a sign, a literal sign of the times.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah.
No, I actually did this at university when I got to uni. One of my courses was flash animation, which unfortunately was made redundant by the time I left university because they weren't really doing any more. No one was doing flash animations by the time I graduated in 2007.
Well, Steve Jobs hates Flash.
I know, exactly. We cut to Randy Orton in his locker room. Josh walks in because he wants to talk about John Cena rather than Wade Barrett. But Orton's sick of talking about John Cena and he doesn't feel sorry for him at all. He's actually focused on Wade. Good, let's talk about Wade, the guy you're facing. But Randy says being fired is Cena's best option. Oh, sorry, no, we're back to Cena, I guess. If being fired is his best option because of what he'll do to him if he sticks around.
Yeah, tonight isn't about Cena for the 3rd time he says that. You know when the lady doth protest a little too much? Tonight isn't about Cena, free or fired. It's about Wade Barrett, punt to the skull or RKO. I'm like, what? So what? What do you care about? Because you've just told me it's not about Wade, it's not about Cena. But here's loads of things about Cena, here's loads of things about Wade. It's not about Randy, I'll tell you that much.
Babyface Randy is so lame.
Yeah, at this time.
At this time, indeed. For the Divas Championship, it's a 2-on-1 handicap match. And Ollie's very excited. As Lay Cool, the defending champions, I guess, take on Natalya.
Yeah, but really, this is my favourite bit of the show because Jerry Lawler sandbags Matt Striker again.
Is this the great banter? Yes! Oh my god, it's so good!
Okay, so it's musical instruments. They're talking about musical instruments.
I've just written here, great banter.
And just hear Lawler's response. Striker's trying to get a bit going.
Brought to you by Paper Jam. Real chords, real songs, real easy. Rock for real with Paper Jam. Visit paperjam.com for more. Can you play any instrument? Do I play any instrument? Yeah. No. Okay.
It's trying going, okay. All right.
Okay.
It's the long pause. Do you play any instruments? Do I play any instruments? Yeah. No.
Which is, bear in mind, connected to a sponsor.
Yeah. I know.
So usually you give that a bit more time and you put your petty differences to one side and work together as commentators. Yeah, just Lawler does the sponsor read. Striker's right in.
Yeah. He's got a thing already lined up.
1, 2.
It's incredible.
Great commentary here. Striker says that she's at a disadvantage for Natalia. Yeah, it's a handicap match.
Yeah.
Quite obvious.
Yeah, well, Michael Cole says the extended Hart family is watching at home. I can assure you they are not.
They think your company killed one of them. Although I guess Brett is.
Yeah, but Brett's not watching Survivor Series 2010 at home.
I think he hate watches things.
No, Brett hasn't got time for it. Brett's too
What's he doing?
not watching. And he's
too
sitting
busy
there.
not watching.
He's too busy not watching the show and telling people he's not watching the show. Stryker then brings up WWE history, and Cole just hates him for it. I don't know why. And he's like, oh yeah, Natty's similar. She likes history as well. Crowd is dead for this. Natty dumps McCool over the barrier, then throws Layla into her. Stryker talks about how this is great. Like, this is a great tactic by Natalya. And Michael Cole's like, she can't win this way.
Yeah.
She's on the both of them on the outside. Now she's at a disadvantage in a disadvantaged situation. She can't win. And then Natty throws McCool back in, sharpshooter, and she wins.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's the match.
Yeah. Which is crazy because you'd think there'd be more of a disadvantage. But she won really quickly.
So easily.
Against 2 people. This is the sort of match that makes me go, oh, is everyone injured? And they're covering for an injury and they've got to get the belt off people.
This is like watching John Cena versus Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre.
But it's for the prestigious unified women's title. Stryker does a whole big thing afterwards. He's trying to make it a big moment. He says, well done to Natty. There are young girls out there training right now who one day would dream to do this just like you, Natty. And Cole says, my dream is that you would be quiet for 5 seconds.
I know he's annoying, but he's not doing anything wrong.
Yeah. It's the bits where he's trying
and
they cut him off worse than when he's being annoying.
He's trying to just put the product over and put over a result, and they're just like, you're a loser.
Yeah.
You're such a dork and I hate you. Why are you trying?
I mean, it is slightly annoying. Well, of course it is very annoying. It's Matt Stryker. But also, he's been a very big lay cool guy for months.
Yeah.
And here he is, great Natalia. Where's the love for lay cool?
Dave Meltzer would say, nothing match, but still better than most women matches because there were no blown spots or awkwardly bad wrestling.
It was 90 seconds.
Well, it's better than most of the time. I think that has been Dave's review for every women's match we've had on this series so far. You can tell by Natalia almost breaking down upon getting the belt that winning the title meant something to her. 1 star. And then Brian Alfred to say, this was fun though. Well, the angle afterwards, match wasn't so much. 1.5 stars.
Yeah, because the angle afterwards was Lay Cool jumping Natty. But then Beth Phoenix makes her return after Lay Cool took her out earlier in the year. And Layla gets hit by a glam slam by Beth. And Layla, like sort of Chelsea Green-esque facials where she's like, no, don't. Very good stuff.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
And then Natalia and Beth celebrate like they're very good friends. And we get this ecstatic noise from Natalia. Listen out for the yay, and then the yay. And again. Why does she look like Leslie Knope?
Well, I mean,
from Parks and Rec. Doesn't she look like her?
I mean, actually, I think there are times when she looks so much like Owen.
Yes, yeah.
But yeah, that's that. Up next, we got Paper Jams promo. And up next for the World Heavyweight Championship.
Oh, Paper Jams. Do you play any instruments?
No. Do I play any instruments?
Booyah.
I mean, I actually could have followed that up as well because I play the drum. So
Yeah.
no, I don't. What does a bass player use for contraceptive?
Don't know.
His personality.
Nice.
What would you call someone who hangs out with musicians?
The bassist,
A
I
drummer.
guess. A drummer.
Anyway, up next for the World Heavyweight Championship, it's
Jerry Lawler over here.
it's Kane defending against Edge. Edge has moved over to SmackDown. Kane can't be stopped because Paul Bearer is by his side. So Edge is using those mind games and he kidnaps Paul Bearer and it takes him backstage and he's like, Kane, help me! Where's my father? And Edge keeps hiding him around the building.
He never says father.
He's just, where's Paul?
He always says, Paul! Paul! Where's Paul Bearer? I know your relationship is a weird one because you're Kane and The Undertaker and Paul Bearer. But I think you should be shouting, Dad.
He does say, where's my father during the match? But then,
does he?
goes back to be like, where's Paul?
The whole recap package. Because I found it, I was like, he's not called him Dad once. And I rewatched it. I was like, Paul!
So anyway, he's playing mind games. He's kidnapped Paul. And then that's it. That's the story going in.
And it doesn't progress.
It really
with the match.
doesn't.
But so Edge kidnaps Bearer, tortures him a bit, it looks like. Tortures him in PG terms, which means pouring a bucket of sticky chicken wings on him, bounces a football on his head. It's hardly misery, is it?
No, but it is. But this is Edge going back to his goofy comedy ways of the early 2000s.
Yeah, but it's not. And because it's not funny.
Oh, well, yeah, but that's WWE in 2010.
They do this a lot with baby faces from 2010 for a couple of years, and they book their baby faces in these kind of ways. Sheamus would go through a spell like this, where it comes off as cruel, and I don't root for them as a face anymore. I'm just like, well, actually, you're being a bit of a dickhead. I know Kane buried a guy, but actually, you're quite mean here.
Yeah, you beat up his dad.
Yeah.
Poor defenseless Paul Bearer. So anyway, the champ comes out. King then... So we're going to have some more great banterous commentary between Striker and King. As champ comes out first, I've got here. I wonder if it's... I haven't got a timestamp for it, annoying, so we might have to watch a little bit.
Oh no. Should we try and hijack a poll of best commentating pairs?
Maybe the only route to the World Heavyweight Championship.
Is it after this bit?
Into this first in the ring, weighing in at 323 pounds, he is your World Heavyweight Champion, Kane. We talk about the dark side of hellfire and brimstone. I know one thing, Edge has made Kane's father, Paul Bearer, life a living hell for the past week, hasn't he?
I think it's earlier than this, you know. Anyway, I'll just go through it. Because King, the champ comes out first, and King says, I wonder where Paul Bearer is. And Striker says, he was abducted. And King's like, no, I mean now. Like, where is he this minute?
Where's he being held?
Exactly. So,
Paul!
he's abducted. We just saw it in the video package. So Edge then makes his entrance, but he goes back and he grabs a wheelchair. But it's empty. The master manipulator Edge. And then he gets beaten up a lot by Kane. Great plan, Edge.
Yeah, I get, he's trying to make Kane unsettled because Kane, actually, there is an argument that Kane's character arc through 2010 is good.
I've enjoyed it.
He started off as, the faux attacker of The Undertaker, and then it's like revealed. No, sorry, it's revealed he is the attacker because he's jealous of his brother.
Yeah.
His father seems to side with The Undertaker, but actually he's with Kane. He's finally stepping out from under The Undertaker's shadow, from out of The Undertaker's shadow. He's defeated his much more powerful older brother, but he thinks it's because he's got Bearer by his side. The love of his father is finally his.
Yeah.
So the removal of Paul Bearer has thrown him off quite a lot. Even though it was the Nexus who really helped him beat Undertaker in the Buried Alive match.
Yeah.
So Edge's idea is that Kane will be too emotional and he can take advantage of that. And Kane will get on top throughout the match, but then he'll start going, but where's Paul Bearer? And Edge will get on top himself.
Yeah. I don't think it translates particularly well into the match itself. It's
because both guys come off as quite unlikable.
Yeah. And the crowd are dead, which I don't think particularly helps this. And then they pick back up for a little bit for a rest hold, with sort of like a let's go Edge chant. But then they just go right back to the rest hold again, so that it kind of kills the crowd off. Edge dropkicks Kane as he goes for a flying clothesline, starts making a comeback, but side slam by Kane shuts him down. Kane then dicks him on the top rope and does his flying clothesline. Edge blocks a chokeslam and hits a DDT. Kane blocks the spear and hits a chokeslam for a near fall. Edge gets out of the tombstone, hits a spear, and the ref counts 3.
Yeah, I was like, oh, okay, I don't remember that.
Yeah.
But that's a 3 count.
And then they play Edge's music, but then it's revealed quite quickly that, oh no, both shoulders were down. The referee counted both of them. They don't say it's a draw, they say it's a tie. And
Same thing.
And the championship stays with the champion.
Yes. A horrid finish. But to their credit, they then show the replay and both guys' shoulders are down.
Because Edge falls into the pin in such a wacky manner.
Yeah. Like, it makes Edge look really bad.
Yeah.
And then also that he would think that he's won, because I think he celebrates afterwards.
Yeah.
Where is it?
That's the choke slam. There goes
So,
That's the choke slam.
Still going along.
Goes for the tombstone. There he goes.
There
Here's
it
the
is.
finish.
Here's the finish. So that
he so wackily falls into that position.
It is harder
to
lay on your back after that move. There's a moment where his momentum stops. He comes along, boom. Terrible finish.
Yeah, not
really,
great.
really bad finish. It makes Kane look a bit rubbish. And after all of that, like the whole point going into this is Edge is using Bearer as the manipulating tactic. So I guess someone's going to wheel out Bearer, or there's going to be a Tron video that plays to distract Kane of Bearer in some location.
No, never see Paul Bearer.
Do we ever see him again?
I think he's back for the December show. Or it might be written off by that point. Kane's not long for the World Championship as well, because Edge will be winning the title soon enough. Kane attacks Edge afterwards, but Edge gets back on top. He puts Kane in the chair and then wheels him into the barricade. And it's when we did, I think it was Hell in a Cell that had the 3-way submissions count anywhere match, where they had one of them on top of a flight case and then they pushed that. You have this. I don't want to bury the lead, but there'll be another spot just like this at TLC 2010. Clearly, someone had a boner for this spot at the moment.
WWE go through those phases, though.
Put someone onto something with wheels, then push it into something.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it. Dave Meltzer said, dull match, 1.5 stars. You meant to be getting over as Edge as this ultimate opportunist, the master manipulator. He's got this master plan. This is what we get. That's what I mean. Like, it doesn't translate into the match. He just gets beaten up, and then he draws,
and then he's an idiot with how he hits his spear, and his spear knocks him out.
Yeah,
and he pins himself.
And Brian Ellsworth, right? They had every Kane versus Edge match you've ever seen or imagined. Meanwhile, my buddies Vinny and Craig were busy trying to figure out if Kane has ever had a great match, and if so, what it was. Vinny concluded that Kane has had the same 1-star match 10,000 times. 1.5 stars.
Well, 1.5.
There you go.
Improvement.
We've got a promo for WrestleMania 27 with WWE's new tagline. It's the best value in entertainment.
Oh, it makes them sound so low rent, doesn't it? I remember this from the time.
Yeah. It's like ticket prices are expensive everywhere, but not the WWE.
Not at the wrestling.
We're a family-friendly product. I can't do it now, obviously. But a family-friendly WWE of 2010, everyone can buy a ticket.
Yeah, because the tagline for WrestleMania 42 is WWE, the most optimized ticket value in entertainment.
Yeah. Las Vegas paid us more than New Orleans. Sorry if you already made your travel arrangements.
And if you're going to buy tickets, it's going to be dynamic.
Yeah. Cena is backstage with a referee shirt. Wade walks in. Do you know, John? This is the building where we first debuted. Did you imagine that you'd be with us in the Nexus? And he then goes and reiterates the steps and says, I remember the night that you debuted. I remember what the Nexus have done to me. I know exactly what I'm doing. And that's it.
Mm-hmm.
But before we get to that,
It's really nice and satisfying that it is in the same location.
That's the other one.
Yeah.
But before then, we have a tag team championship match as the Nexus of Gabriel and Slater take on the number one contenders Santino Marella and Vladimir Kozlov.
The joke act. Santino and Kozlov.
Yeah, but Kozlov's making Santino more serious now. He's teaching him judo moves and such.
Yes, I know you're trying to annoy me. They've turned the tag division. Well, they've not. It's not been anything since DX were there.
Well, yeah.
Really?
Well, yeah, when DX were the champions, they were taking it very seriously.
Yeah.
And then they dropped the belts and then they stopped taking it seriously.
So it's not been
It's
serious.
how that happens.
This entire run. Like, didn't the Nexus debut episode of Raw, it was just like, well, here's the Usos.
Yeah, it was the Usos and the Hart Dynasty.
Yeah, and Drew and Cody are now the tag team champions. Those sound like great decisions now. Not back then in 2010. It was the undercard title. And yet you've got the Nexus, Slater and Gabriel. John Cena is a former tag team champion, the last set. And they're big challengers. Nexus, this huge threat. This probably epitomizes the rise and fall here. They are going against Santino and Kozlov.
I think your big mistake there is you keep calling them a big threat.
Well, yeah.
because they're not. But to your credit and to your defense, WWE don't want the title belt. They keep saying, we don't want to count the title belt on the Nexus. So the company keeps telling you they're a big threat. But they never present them as a big threat. And here they are. It's a 3-minute match where mostly it's just Nexus selling for Santino and Kozlov. And then Santino tags in, does his stuff. He cobras up, distracts himself with the other members of the Nexus, that being Husky Harris and Michael McGillicuddy. And Slater hits the zigzag and he gets the win. And then they pose and then the email goes off.
Blip, blip. Yes. Yeah, this is really an angle to set up the main event.
Yeah.
That's all this is.
And then Cole opens up the laptop. Email's already open. Come on, guys. Very similitude. And it's there just to remind us the Nexus are banned from ringside, and Cole gets watted as he does this.
Yeah.
This is all building to Michael Cole having a WrestleMania match.
The whole group will be indefinitely suspended if they interfere, so advised to leave immediately. Because, wow, that anonymous Raw general manager sure does uphold those rules, doesn't he?
Yeah.
As we see with Cena every week.
Dave Meltzer would say this match got good reactions, even though it was put in what was supposed to be the death spot, designed to take the crowd down after a hot match. Of course, the match before was below 0, 3/4 of a star. And Brian Alfred would say, not much to it, 1 star.
Yeah, there's nothing to it. It is weird, though, seeing Bray Wyatt on the outside at this time.
I know. And future Paul Heyman guy, Curtis Axel. Which brings us to our main event, as Wade Barrett takes on Randy Orton for the WWE Championship with John Cena as the special guest referee, though really the last part of that is the most important thing, because the video package that we get is not about the Nexus, it's not about Wade, it's not even about Randy Orton as the champion. It's just about John Cena, and gosh darn how much he loves wrestling and the fans love him.
Can we look at this match graphic? John Cena is wearing his purple John Cena shirt underneath his referee shirt.
No. I think if you look closely, that is just a PNG of a referee shirt put over the already existing John Cena image.
Oh man.
They just photoshopped some stripes onto him.
Yeah, it's I hate it. Because I think when he comes down, he hasn't got the purple shirt underneath, but I hate John Cena in 2010 so much. This might be peak John Cena hate for me.
I think you're right. I think I'd probably in a similar boat. I mean, I was really on the message boards in 2007, 2008, hating on Cena. And so yeah, I was hating on him a lot then, but I think now, probably looking back on it, this is when I dislike him the most.
Yeah, I didn't like him until 2016.
No,
but this was the most I disliked him because I think it's because of the Nexus thing. So before then, it was just Randy Orton, John Cena, boring. I don't care. I'll watch TNA. Then there was the Nexus thing, and I really hated him for that, both on screen and kind of off screen. But then next July we get the pipe bomb, so at least I can hold on to the Punk stuff there. And even though Cena was pushed as the top guy, I had my Punk stuff. Here there was very little to enjoy. So yeah.
I'm trying to think, because when you get into 2014 and it's Cena and Orton again, I was so done by that point. I was so done with Cena.
But it's all from an exhausted point.
That was, yeah.
This is energetic hate.
So yeah, this video is just about how much John Cena, gosh darn, he loves wrestling.
It's quite a good video package.
I think the end angle, I think actually they do get over. If they had followed this through with any sort of care, I think this would have really worked. But it's the same as Hell in a Cell. That was a really effective angle. And if they'd have followed it through with any sort of care, I think it would have worked.
Well, this video package, the way it's edited, it looks like the story we could fantasy book of the John Cena Nexus thing. Cena's made to join them. He has a year of just being downtrodden and forced to do things he doesn't want to do. And this is the ultimatum bit. He can get his freedom, but it's the final humiliation where he has to go against everything he stands for.
Yeah.
The problem is all of that happened in a month, and they're making us feel like they're. And that was always WWE's
the gaslight
thing. Well, the gaslighting, but also the video editing team, I think, had a thankless task, and they knocked it out the park mostly every single time. Because you can watch any video package at this era of pay-per-views, and it feels like a coherent,
epic,
really well-told epic story.
Yeah.
Not if you live through them, though.
No. Speaking of epic, this match is not. They have the most basic of basic matches. Wade works over Orton. He hits the wasteland, but Randy gets the ropes. He then argues with John Cena, who pushed him into an RKO, and then Randy wins.
that is actually the whole match.
That's the whole match.
Yeah, but it's 20 minutes.
Yeah. It's just Wade working over Randy for ages.
Yeah. It's crazy how little notes I've got for this. Because, Wade and Randy's offense is a bit boring as well. And this is the problem with the whole Nexus push. Ultimately, I don't think Wade was good enough to instantly become a main eventer. They did pick 7 inexperienced guys and the best wrestler in the world.
And then fired him.
And then they got behind Wade Barrett, who we all love.
Yeah, he's great.
Probably needed 3 more years of proper big WWE show exposure to get those reps in, learn how to work in front of large crowds, adapt the psychology.
Ironically, what he needed was NXT.
Yes. But yeah, we don't think of that because we're so excited about an injection of freshness into the main event scene, even if they were, in hindsight, woefully underprepared.
I mean, we'll see it even more when we review the match that comes after this the following night on Raw. But yeah, should we hear Striker blow the call?
Oh, before you do, I've got a Striker note.
Oh, great.
There's a bit when he says, because he's talking about John Cena having the special guest referee shirt. And he says, I've been a fan for too long. I know something's going to happen with Cena. And I thought, look, well, you're saying what we're all thinking there. This isn't our first rodeo. The special guest referee will probably probably interfere in some way. But the commentators should have been metagaming the product.
I know something's up here.
Yeah. I think a heel turn's coming.
So here we go. Here is the finish of the match. There's John Cena with his classic acting face. As he's annoyed at Wade for shoving him. Play. Come on, QuickTime. Oh, no, my QuickTime's done this thing. Every now and again, QuickTime just stops working. 2:39.
Yeah, the crowd aren't that into the match either. They do a little RKO chant, but very, very lightly. The main chant is "Let's go, Cena. Cena sucks." But yeah, there's nothing else to talk about
Apart from
other than the moment when Cena body checks Wade.
So I just want to point out as well, I hate to keep harping on about this, but Cena is still wearing his own gimmicks. He's wearing his own armbands. I know he's got the Nexus one on as well, but he's got more of his own armbands on. He's not committing to this bit because really more important than getting the storyline over is selling their terrible merchandise.
The best merchandise, the Nexus.
No, his merchandise.
Oh, his merchandise, yeah. It's also weird that everyone else wears the Nexus armband mid-bicep, and he puts it where a crack addict would put it. He's like got the tightening band around the bottom of his forearm.
Yeah, Christopher Moltisanti over here is just trying to cover up from Tony what's going on.
I don't think it fits around his bicep.
It's too big.
So big.
He's too muscly.
This is so lame as well. It's so passive-aggressive. Stone Cold would just stun the guy and then do the pin. Oh, I just walked into you.
Cena's fired.
Cena's free! Fired. You meant Naga. Yeah, it's I don't think this is a good execution of the angle. I don't think it's a good story.
The crowd buy it though. And that's what I mean by I think it works. The crowd give him a standing ovation at the end of it, and they're like, oh man, John Cena's gone from the WWE. We're not going to see him anymore.
I'd be cheering too.
And so they'll just stand there being like, thank you for your service, John. This will be the reaction that he gets in December of 2025.
No. This is... There's no kids crying. There's no it's like, oh, okay, yeah, have a nice break. You have been doing the house show circuit for a couple of years. Have some time off, John. That's the reaction he's getting from the crowd. And he milks it. He forces that reaction from the crowd because he's a very good worker of audiences. He runs around. He does a victory lap.
Yeah. Also, I do think, with the benefit of hindsight, going back and watching a lot of these shows, rather, I should say, the anti-Cena, the Cena Sucks Brigade, is less on shows than I remember. I remember the Cena Sucks chants being way louder than the Let's Go Cena chants. But actually, no, watching these shows back, or his music hitting and him getting booed, I seem to be so much stronger. And I'm still waiting for those shows to hit. And they never really do.
Oh, I think they come in 2011.
Like a Mania, maybe. But even at 2011, I still think he's getting good reactions from crowds.
No, I think you get The Rock doing the promos against Cena, and that's when you get, even Rock points out, the deep voices say Cena sucks.
Yeah.
And then you get Punk and the pipe bomb, and then it's very, boo, it becomes a fashionable thing to do. I think from 2011 onwards, it gets increasingly more. But yeah, not as much in 2010.
But I would have said, from 2007 onwards. 2007 up until 2016 when he does the US title run. That is when you were getting big, every time his music hit, boo. I clearly have just, I remember it so vividly at the time, but I'm clearly wrong on that one. But only about 5 people try to get a Na 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 song going, and it doesn't pick up. But yeah, that's it. And Dave Meltzer would say, there was a Cena chant, but you could tell that the crowd didn't really buy Cena was really leaving, nor should they have. Cena hugged Michael Cole, as well as Rick the sign guy from Texas, who is the front row all the time, as well as a few others, then walked away. Fans did react to his standing on the stage and saluting the audience, but not nearly to the level you'd hope for. Cena then went into the crowd as the show ended 2.5 stars. I actually think they reacted better than Dave said.
I disagree. I think it is a reaction that Cena forced through his performance. And that's a testament to how good he is. We skipped over a bit at the end where afterwards Cena gets the belt and gives it to Randy Orton. And that's quite... Again, that could have been a great storyline. These two sworn rivals for years and years and years. Hangman Page and Swerve Strickland of the PG era couldn't do some of those things they did in their matches. They've had to indirectly work together to defeat the Nexus, this invading force. And Cena ended up giving his career for this other guy to stay and fight them.
Yeah.
That's there is a beautiful story in there, but it is terribly told.
Oh, they tagged a couple of weeks back. Brian Adams would say they played it up like this big, like it was really the end of him, which of course it is not. 2 stars. But we've got one more match to talk about because, as we alluded to earlier, and actually talked a little bit earlier, the following night on Raw, the main event was Randy Orton versus Wade Barrett for the WWE Championship. And before Orton's making his entrance, the Nexus attack him and they take out his leg. We come back from the break.
They do the standard 6 guys round and buff, 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 buff. There is no bit where they target the knee.
Well, they chop block him.
Yeah, but considering how much Randy sells it, couldn't they just get a steel chair? Why are we not Pillmanizing the leg here?
So Wade comes out looking all smug, and then Randy comes out and he's limping and he's selling the leg. And they have, I would argue, more of a basic match than they had at Survivor Series, which is just Wade works over the leg, and then out of nowhere, John Cena runs into the ring and he hits him with an AA, and then the Nexus chase off John Cena and RKO, and Randy Orton retains.
Yeah.
And as he's celebrating, limping on his leg, the Miz's music hits, and he comes down and he cashes in, and hilariously, Miz has the exact same match that Wade Barrett just had. The same moves and everything. The same kicks to the leg, the same elbows to the leg, only it's half the length. And then Randy goes for the RKO, but Miz reverses it into a skull crush finale, and he wins.
Yeah, Randy's comeback's really good because he's doing the comeback, but still selling the knee, which is a really smart thing to do. And then Miz reverses, like you said, wins the title. And the first person they find and cut to is the Mizgal.
Mizgal's right there.
And it's the Mizgal and Undertaker guy a few years later convinced Kevin Dunn that finding individual people in the crowd for great reactions was the way forward for wrestling production.
Because you meme it.
Yeah.
And like, Mizgal was everywhere.
Oh, it's a great reaction.
The following day, the amount of memes I was sent by friends of Mizgal. The one that sticks in my head is like where they'd superimposed her head onto Vigo the Carpathian from Ghostbusters 2.
But they are rare, and you really need great moments to create them. So what ended up happening was most of the time they'd cut to just normal looking expressions or the guy in the crowd on his phone.
Yes.
Wasn't there a big Roman Reigns angle? It was like, oh my God, this is so shocking. And it cuts to a guy who's just on his phone. Because they do cut to 2 other kids in this bit. Like, oh man, the kids must be really annoyed at the Miz. Neither of them look that concerned.
Mizgal is furious about this.
She's a great reaction.
They bring her on stage for the Slammies.
Yeah.
Because I think she wins an award.
OMG reaction moment.
Oh my God. And then they bring her out so she can do the Mizgal look at him again. So, you know, they tried to lean into it as much as they could do, but classic. So she's a full adult now. I wonder if she still watches wrestling.
That's weird, isn't it?
Yeah. My thing is like, what does she make of 2025 WWE? Does she think that Miz should have got a serious title push when he won it in 2021?
Well, yeah.
Like when he cashed in Elimination Chamber. He's just like, do you know what? When I was a kid, I thought he was rubbish. But now as an adult, I think he deserves that big heel push. Did you see Talking Smack in 2016?
She could have had Happy Mizgal. I wonder what her life's like. Because my dad knows someone who used to be the Milky Bar kid.
No way.
And it's like, he really doesn't like to talk about it, keeps it quiet, and then like it'll come out and everyone will go, oh my God. But in meme culture and on the internet, when you find something, where do I know you from?
Yeah.
Oh, you just had one moment of your life that has been memed everywhere.
Yeah.
Like that woman on the toilet. You know the one?
I thought you were going to say the Huck Tour girl.
She lent into it. But there's
she'll be back in 10 years doing conventions.
Yeah, but she seems she's got a business brain on.
I'm not a bad one.
I more mean the
into a cryptocurrency and bankrupted people.
Worked for her. Who's to say business is for other people's success? But there's the robot vacuums, and people found out there was a leak or something, or you could hack the database,
right?
And they got a photo of a woman who was just on a toilet, and obviously the vacuum went in there and just took a photo of her. But that woman, like, you know, oh yeah, you're the woman. Or the Coldplay couple. Oh,
Yeah.
that's where I know you.
Yeah.
You're the person to the left of them.
Yeah,
who was
disgusting. Like that mum.
Yeah.
So
And
yeah,
Mizgal.
and Mizgal.
There should be.
Honestly,
Should we do a show where we track all the wrestling reactions down? Because we'd have
Undertaker guy,
Mizgal.
Mhm.
I once got I did an interview with the guy with the
Seth Rollins
the
isn't
Seth
cool.
Rollins isn't cool sign. But you know, he's not really stood the test of time. No one talks about that guy anymore. So what other big ones are there?
I mean, if you could get green shirt guy.
But Green, he's there a lot. Brock guy, there a lot.
Brock guy's like, I guess he's the other one, right?
Yeah, but
He's
at
at a
loads
lot of the
shows.
shows, and he is lent into it because he wears the same T-shirt to every show. So everyone goes, "It's Brock Lesnar guy."
I want people who didn't want to get over. People who are just having a natural reaction, crying guy in the CM Punk thing.
Yes.
And I'll be like, why are you such a little bitch?
Why'd you cry when
Why'd
CM
you
Punk
cry?
came?
Are you emotional? What is it? Because you've had a bad childhood? Why?
Particularly if they don't watch wrestling anymore,
Oh.
and see if you can like show them what wrestling is now. It's like, do you like this? Is this going to bring you back? What did you make of WWE Unreal?
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's it. Dave Meltzer would say the crowd was genuinely upset to see Miz take the title, and Brian Alvarez said, "Great finish. There was a fucking outraged child in the crowd, and they got shot up. I mean, this kid was straight out of The Exorcist. It was awesome. That kid will always be associated with the Miz's title run. Awesome. In fact, let's be honest, they found far more fans pissed off that the Miz won the title than they found who were unhappy that Cena was supposedly retiring. A great episode of Raw." And that's Survivor Series 2010 and the postscript to it as well. Where do you think the Nexus are at the moment? Because bearing in mind, the next episode that we're going to do...
I think, they're kidnapped. They're abducted.
Poor Pera. So, next episode that we do, which is available now, patreon.com/WrestleTalk, that's reviewing TLC 2010, is the end. Because it's Wade versus Cena in a TLC match. And that is going to be pretty much the end of the Nexus. Because after that, CM Punk comes in. He makes it the new Nexus. Wade, Gabriel, and Slater go off to SmackDown. The idea was they were going to clash in the Royal Rumble and then build to an epic match at WrestleMania, which they never do. Instead, CM Punk goes off to face Randy Orton, and Wade and co get squashed by a group of good guys in like 2 minutes. So this next match that we get at TLC is the end. So where do you think Nexus currently are as we reach the final point of this?
What do you mean? Like where they are when we get to TLC?
Yeah. So like,
well, they've got the tag belts. I assume they don't have the tag belts anymore.
I don't mean more like that. I just more mean sort of like culturally. Like, do you think like the act? Do you think the act is still over? Do you think people buy it? Like, what's your sort of? Do you think the vibe of the Nexus is at the moment?
Well, I think by this point, people have made peace with the fact that they are John Cena's villain of the week. And they don't buy John Cena's firing. It's all about John Cena. And it probably always was. And that's foolish us for believing WWE would try something properly new and get behind it. So I would say they're just an act on the show. And weirdly, WWE feel like they want to tie up this loose end that they really don't have to.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm kind of agreeing with you a little bit. I think they have quite clearly given up on this, and I think they've realised that Wade isn't the guy, not now, and so they're not going to strap the belt to him. They're not going to put a rocket on him. They're just going to have John Cena beat him, and then that is it. And we're done. So we're moving on to the next thing. But yeah, it is TLC. What else is on that show? We have got. I'll give you the rundown of the card to get you excited. Dolph Ziggler versus Kofi Kingston versus Jack Swagger.
Haven't heard that mix up for a while.
Yep, in a triple threat ladder match. Beth Phoenix and Natalya versus Lay Cool in a tables match.
Okay, that'll be fun.
Santino and Vladimir Kozlov versus The Nexus for the tag team titles. John Morrison versus Sheamus.
Again.
Who is now King Sheamus because he wins the King of the Ring tournament.
There's a whole King of the Ring tournament between this and TLC.
Yep. And it's that's a
In November.
yeah, they just do it on TV.
Oh, wow.
And it's a ladder match to determine the number one contender to the WWE Championship. The Miz versus Randy Orton in a tables match for the WWE Championship. Edge versus Kane versus Rey Mysterio and Alberto Del Rio in a fatal four-way TLC match. And then it's John Cena versus Wade Barrett in the main event in a chairs match.
A chairs match. Very fun. That's how I always thought the Nexus angle would end. Not in a steel cage to block the rest of the Nexus interfering or Hell in a Cell, but a chairs match.
Chairs match. Could have been a stairs match.
Did they have musical chairs as a Nexus game show challenge?
No, I don't think they did. No, that would have been too fun.
Well, the most important thing, of course, that is the finale to the Rise and Fall of the Nexus, patreon.com/WrestleTalk. But also, if you go to patreon.com/WrestleTalk, there is now a poll.
Yes, there is.
A poll to decide what the next series arc is going to be. And it's definitely going to be TNA.
TNA. Yes, it is. And you're going to have... Are we going to say the three options?
Yes, let's do it.
So, we have three options. You can either vote for the rest of this calendar year. We're going to be talking about either Aces and Eights.
Huge.
We're going to be talking about Main Event Mafia.
That is peak my era of TNA.
Or we stick around in 2010 and dip our toes into 2011 and we talk about Immortal.
Oh, well, so we'd do a kind of chronological follow-on from the Nexus.
My thinking of Immortal is we basically go from Bound for Glory 2010, but we'd actually do it afterwards. We've already done Bound for Glory 2010. So we do like the formation of Immortal to Bound for Glory 2011, because that is when Hogan splits away from Immortal and he has his match with Sting. And so that, which I think might be was like his last match.
Oh, it'd be weird to review a Hogan-based thing.
Yeah.
I thought that was going to be the lowest down of the three. I think like Aces and Eights, I think, will win.
A lot of people have asked for Aces
Yeah,
and Eights.
and then Main Event Mafia. But I never thought Immortal would get up there. But considering Hogan's recent passing,
yeah,
maybe he'll get a surge.
I think you might do. I think Main Event Mafia is coming third. Also, we've covered quite a few of the Main Event Mafia shows as well.
Well, I think the Main Event Mafia has the perfect coda to the Joe Angle feud because Joe joins him.
He does.
In Main Event Mafia.
It's also where we turn Sting heel because we've just got to keep turning that man heel. He'll get over as a heel eventually, right?
Kevin Nash, Scott Steiner.
Plus,
like, how can you get to do the episode of the Main Event Mafia Impact?
I know. But if I can just ruin this ever so slightly, because if you do Immortal, you get to do Joker Sting.
There are so many bad options.
And they're all the best ones.
Yes.
No matter what you pick, it's the right choice.
Should we, because this is the second year we've done the TNA winter. Should we make like a big annual thing?
We'll just do TNA.
TNA is coming. We can start doing vignettes a little bit. TNA is coming.
It's coming to September. Yeah, so you know what that means? It means that TNA is on its way.
It happens once a year for 4 months.
We are wrestling.
Yeah.
So yeah, head on over to patreon.com/WrestleTalk right now because you can get to hear our review and watch our review of TLC 2010, the end of our Nexus chronicling, and then vote in the poll. What are we going to do next for TNA? Thanks so much for watching, everyone. You can check out the rest of the reviews that we've done as well. There's some videos on screen to click on. And we'll see you next... Well, we'll see you soon. We'll see you next month for the TNA. Bye.